life, and now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the show, everybody. What a weekend we had. Tigers, Michigan. Michigan State, a little bit of a letdown. That's fine. We'll get into Tom Izzo a little bit later on in the show, but we got a team in the Final Four, baby. We'll get into the Tigers in a little bit as well. I got a really exciting yet alarming Tigers take for you guys after one series. Whoa! It is Verlander bump day, ladies and gents. For the first time in over 3,000 days, Verlander is going to be taking the mound in a Tigers uniform, late game. That's okay. Got to stay up for it. Look, let's start right here. The Michigan Wolverines, they are in the Final Four. It has been pure dominance from the Wolverines. 90 points and a 10-point victory in each of their first four March Madness games. They have a point differential of 100 through those first four games. They've been dominant every step of the way. Against Tennessee in the first half, they end up going on what did it end up getting to, Kyle? A 21-0 run to put them up big at halftime. I wanted to go out, get some work done outside, just go enjoy the nice weather we were having yesterday. And I was like, oh, I got to wait until after this Michigan game was done. No, you didn't. It was over at halftime. You could have gone on with your day and just moved on. Although I will say, we probably said that about the second game, and Duke just with an all-time next-level collapse. We thought last year's Duke collapse was bad. This one was improbable to the 10th degree. I have no idea how they lost that game.
Yeah, that is just – I mean, everyone loves to see Duke lose, and the true story of the weekend really should be, Michigan is in the Final Four. Like, how cool is that? But
right.
How can it not be what happened to Duke yesterday, man? I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Just hold on to the ball. Get fouled. You would have just shot free throws and the game would have been over, but instead, Caden Boozer, poor kid, I don't know how that kid shows up to class on a day like today.
How does he return to Duke ever? I don't think he ever goes back.
The Boozer name, for as much success as their dad, Carlos Boozer, had, and Cam Boozer's about to win Player of the Year, Boozer name just forever stained in Duke history now.
For real.
That's a tough one. That's for another day, though. Joke with your friends about that one. I'm sure we'll joke about it as the show continues. I've said this before, Kyle, about this Michigan team, but I feel more and more confident in my voice when I say it now that they are in a Final Four. First of all, I think the national championship is taking place on Saturday at 9 o'clock between Michigan and Arizona. I think whoever wins that game is just going to blow out whoever wins the game between UConn and Illinois. Why do I think that? Well, because we've already seen Michigan blow out one of those schools in Illinois earlier this year. The real national championship comes on Saturday. Both teams have looked basically unbeatable throughout the tournament. And with Michigan, again, I've said this before, I feel confident saying it now. I think whether or not they get this thing done, we're going to look back in 4 or 5 years and be like, oh my God, we're either going to think, well, yeah, duh, of course they got it done, or how on earth did this team not win a national championship? Because I really believe 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to have 4 real NBA rotation guys on this team. Yaxel, I'm running out of words for this guy. I think Namari Burnett a couple weeks ago or last weekend calling him Dominican LeBron was about as great of a nickname as you can come up with for the kid. And maybe I'm hesitant to use the word kid because everyone likes to poke fun at his age.
Old as you, yeah.
As old as me. He's on the older side of things. I don't think that should be, swept away. But like when you're talking about him, you got to bring it up. But it almost feels like a disservice to bring it up and say that's the only reason he's as dominant as he is, because, he has stepped it up here in March in every way you could ask an All-American to do. 21 points per game, up from his 14 in the regular season. The last 3 games, it's been 20-plus each and every game. He does everything, Kyle. He does everything you can ask him for. It feels as if he's shooting 90% from three-point range in March Madness. He streaks out and gets these not cheap baskets, not cherry-picking basket, but he just runs the floor in transition better than anybody. He is an elite facilitator. He's grabbing more rebounds than he typically does here in March Madness, too. He's an efficient scorer as well. He's getting it done on defense, not to mention in addition to everything else I just said. He feels like one of the best players in March Madness, and that's not a hot take, because obviously he's been one of the best players all year. He's an All-American, but Cam Boozer's going to win the Wooden Award. I really don't think he's that much worse, if worse at all, of a player than Cam Boozer. He's certainly more well-rounded, and I'm not going to sit here and stomp my foot and say Axel Enderberg should have won or will win the Wooden Award. But at the same time, like, this is one of the most well-rounded college basketball players I can remember in a very long time. He has no weaknesses, and you're seeing that now in March where he's taking it up yet another level.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just his ability to do it all for Michigan, but it's ability to, like, pick and choose when he has to do it. You know, I mean, he's had plenty of games this year where you're like, this guy's first-team All-American. This guy's the Big Ten Player of the Year, and sometimes he scores 8 points in some games.
He scored 9 points in the first round.
Right. But it's the games that they absolutely need him most. I mean, you've continued to bring this up throughout the season, and it's totally valid. Like, he steps up more than anybody in these big games. Like, he goes on these 8-0 runs by himself. Mm-hmm. He makes the huge poster dunks or the big defensive plays. Like, he makes big plays and steps up in big games as a clutch player.
Rebounds.
Yeah, like, he does everything that you want an elite player to do in the elite games. And sometimes, yes, he does go quiet in these smaller games, but, like, did it shock anyone what he did against the Elite Eight against Tennessee? Is it going to shock anyone when he has a huge game against Arizona? Like, that's just the style of player that he is. And it helps when you're on a Michigan team that is so talented that he can have the games where he doesn't need to have 25 and 10, like Cam Boozer has to do every single game for Duke. Like, Duke kind of just needs him to do that every single game. Michigan doesn't need Lendenberg to do it every single game. And it's a testament to Dusty May and their team, but it's also a testament to the style of player that he is and why you feel so comfortable that he's going to fit in so well in the NBA, because he doesn't need to be a star player, but he absolutely can turn on that star player switch whenever he has to.
I forget who. One of the guys on the CBS halftime show said Axel Lendenberg wasn't a dominant college basketball player, and I guess I just don't understand where on earth he's getting that from. 21 points. This is in March in 4 games. 21 points per game, 59% from the field, 4.3 assists, 7.3 rebounds, 0.8 steals, 0.8 blocks. I mean, that's about as good as it gets.
Sure. I think calling a guy who averaged 14 points per game a dominant college basketball player is like, I could understand being hesitant to do that.
He's dominant when he needs to be.
For sure.
He's dominant when he needs to be. That wasn't ever a game this season for Michigan because, again, it's like clockwork. It's not just Axel Lendenberg as the number one reason that Michigan's here. I mean, they've scored 90-plus points in every March Madness game that they've played so far. It's not just because of Yaxel. Mraz had a bad weekend, but he had a great first weekend when he was one of the most efficient players in the history of the tournament with that 20-point performance, and he didn't miss from the field. That's a guy who 3-and-D immediately in the NBA. Ade Mara will walk into the NBA next year as one of the best rim protectors in the league at 7'4". McKinney, oh my God, that guy is. I think we have to take a step back and realize sometimes that he's a freshman. He doesn't play like a freshman at all. I guess with the wave of freshmen that have been so fantastic this year across college basketball, maybe it's a little bit more acceptable to say that. But he is 10 times better than he was in November early on in the season. It feels like he hits every shot, every jump shot that he has to take. That's an A-plus NBA jump shot as well. Like, again, I think 4 to 5 years from now, we're going to look back and either think, how on earth did this team not get it done? Or, yeah, of course they got it done because there's going to be so much talent on this roster that's currently there that's going to be playing big-time minutes in an NBA game. Not just, hey, they got drafted second-round guy. I'm talking like every single one of those 4 guys I just mentioned as a true contributor in the league. And it makes me think, again, whether or not they get this done, on paper, this is one of the best college basketball teams that's been assembled here in the modern era.
it feels like every single year in college basketball there is a team that is just, especially when those guys go off to the NBA, that you're like, look at this team that was together in college.
Yeah.
Michigan is in the making of that squad. Like, you can see the pathway. Now, are they going to be 2024 UConn, where you're like, wow, look how many NBA and, like, just talented players there was on this team. Of course they won it all. Or are they going to be 2025 Duke, where it was like, wow, they had Flagg and Knipple and Maluach and all these. They had 5 leaguers in their starting lineup, and they lost in the Final Four. You know, like, which route are they going to take? But you're right. You can totally see it just based off of the amount of talent that they have. They are the most talented team left in the tournament, no doubt about it.
Yeah, they've got the size. I mean, all year long they've had this number one defense. It hasn't even shined as that special here in the tournament. They just haven't been able to be stopped on the offensive side because they're too big. Like, sometimes, as complicated as basketball has become, and as advanced as the sport has become here in the last 5 years, and this analytics burst that we've had, this analytics renaissance, you know what matters in basketball? Being bigger than your opponent. And Michigan, every time that they step on the floor, is going to be bigger than their opponent. With Yaxel, who typically was the 5, but you can play him all the way up to the 2, it feels like. That guy at 6'9" is your 3rd biggest guy on the floor most of the time if you're running your starting group out there. It's pretty incredible nonetheless. I do have a question for the Michigan fans, though. Are you ready to crown this guy the best player? I guess that's where the question comes in. Since when? Because I went through Trey Burke's 2013 run when Michigan went to the tournament or went to the championship. Again, I told you, Yaxel and Burke, 21 points per game, 59% shooting. Trey Burke, during that run in 6 games, 2 more than what Yax has played so far, 15.5 points per game on 36% shooting. He had a couple stinkers in the run to the Final Four. And I know he's player of the year. I'm not taking any credit away from that. That was also a really good team with some really good players around him. And I mean, they had Big Ten Player of the Year, future Big Ten Player of the Year, Nick Stauskas on that team too. And it's different because Yaxel's just going to pop in, play 1 season with Michigan, and then move on. I really think this is going to go down as one of the best Michigan seasons in program history. And it's not going to show up in the stats book like from an all-time perspective. It's not like he's going to have the most points scored or anything like that. Nor is he going to have the most points scored in a season or anything like that as well. Because, again, Michigan just didn't need him a lot in the last 10 minutes of a lot of these games that they played in the regular season. But when you just look at what the team has accomplished and what he does as the engine for this team, like, I know this team is incredible. If he's not on it, they're not in the Final Four. Point blank, period. There's no doubt in my mind. If he's not there, they're not a Final Four team. When you have to consider everything that he's done and what this team has accomplished, I really do think that this is going to go down as one of the best seasons in the history of the program. It's just not going to show up statistically, you know? And it's not going to show up for the fans because, he was a pop-in 1 year type of guy.
That is the weirdest part about just now of college basketball, because when you ask the question immediately, like, is Yaxel Lendenberg a better Michigan player than Trey Burke? My obvious brain answer is, well, of course not. Like, of course he's not. He's been at Michigan for 1 year. Now, if he wins a national title, wins most outstanding player of the Final Four, like, yeah, Trey Burke didn't do that, and a lot of Michigan fans will say, well, it didn't count, Louisville, but whatever.
They lost.
They lost, correct. But I do think that it's difficult because the reason I say that is because of the legacy that Trey Burke has at Michigan, right? Yaxel Lendenberg is, of course, building a legacy at Michigan, but it's lasted for 7 months. Mm-hmm. Like Trey Burke's lasted for 4 years. So it's very difficult to scale both of those. But when you break it down to, like you said, the individual seasons that both of them have had, Trey Burke was the National Player of the Year, and he has the moment as well. The moment of hitting the shot against Kansas. And that's always going to be, like, when you think about Trey Burke, Michigan, mm-hmm. That's the number one thing you think of, right? Yeah. Like, no doubt. Or maybe you think of the block against Louisville that got called a foul.
Yeah.
Like, you think of one of those two things. What do you think of when you see Yaxel Lendenberg? What is the moment? Not saying he needs one, but what is it?
Well, he hasn't had a chance to have a moment yet in
Could
March
have
because
one.
They've been up by double digits
Really
the
good
majority
point.
of the tournament. Like there's a nostalgia with Trey Burke because it reminds Michigan fans of a really good time.
And like when you think of legends, though, like all legends have a specific moment. Like it is something that happens.
But this team is, it's like clockwork. They haven't ran into that much ran into problems here in March.
So are you saying that their region wasn't that hard?
I stand by what I said, that they ran into a lot of teams that lived and died by the 3. And for the first half of that Alabama game on Friday night, I mean, that was an incredible game where you felt like Alabama could hang in there.
True.
The problem is you just can't keep up with Michigan offensively because of how easily they score in the paint. And you look at their best player, what's he shooting from the field this year in the tournament? 59%. He's the most well-rounded player I think we had in college basketball this year. I think that's, now that we've been through a little bit of the March Madness tournament, we can look back at this year as a whole. And I know Peterson and DeBanta were all fantastic, and they were, at least DeBanta was All-American. Boozer's probably going to win the Wooden Award. I don't know if there was a player that was more well-rounded than Yaxel. And there's a reason that they're playing in March Madness. Most of it's because of him and their size. And Dusty May, who probably doesn't get enough credit for this roster that he assembled. I know a lot of people say, anybody could bring this team to the Final Four. Look at the roster. Not everyone could get all these guys here. And somehow he managed to do that. This is obviously an incredible, incredible team that has been put together. Now they've got a chance to go do something special. And if they do, does that make them a blue blood? That's a question I want to throw at everyone. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. As always, the 9 o'clock hour is brought to you by Iron Stack Technologies. They help businesses stay secure, efficient, and ready for what's next so you can focus on your mission instead of your technology. Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. You can check them online at ironstacktechnology.com. The show, as always, is brought to you by our friends over at Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Protect your home with Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. If you've got a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking a little tired, Bresky's got you covered. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
989-837-6125. Shane on the Mitt message line says, I think Yak's 1 year at Michigan is better than any 1 year that Trey Burke had because Yaks is a more dimensional player than Burke. Yaks is a 5-tool basketball player. Burke was only good on offense. Kyle Burke only played 2 seasons at Michigan before he went pro. It shows your lack of knowledge on Michigan basketball. Calling you out, man. That's tough.
What did I say?
I have no idea. I don't think you said anything that was conflicting that.
Oh.
But I just want, you got to read what the people are sending in.
Right.
Mark says, guys, I'm confident with Arizona, or I'm confident with Roddy, tournament Roddy. He'll show up against Arizona. Arizona's great, but they haven't played the three-headed dominant front court that is Michigan. Yaks can handle the ball, drive, shoot, defends, great guards, and all in the front court. He does that while he's 6'9", 245. Yeah. There's not a whole lot he doesn't do.
Andrew Catalon hit people with the March Roddy in that game against Alabama, too. Or I think it was against Tennessee. Roddy hit a bucket, and he was like, March Roddy. And I was like, oh, so this is like gone national, this whole Roddy Gale in the tournament thing.
The putback dunk he had was like kind of insane.
It was.
It was a really fun all-around weekend for Michigan, but that should go without saying. So I do have a question. If Michigan does win this thing and gets it done, does that make them a blue blood? Because 3 Final Fours since 2010, only Duke, Kentucky, and UConn have more than that. They'd be they'd be tied for the most Final Fours with a couple other teams since then. And if they finally get it done and get over the hump, they've got their national championship claim to it as well. Is Michigan a blue blood if they get this done?
Is this a real question?
Yes. Michigan has had a very sustainable, I mean, there was the down year with Juwan, but people kind of forget Juwan brought them to an Elite Eight, and they lost to UCLA and Mitt Cronin. But this is a program with a lot of, there's been 3 different coaches that have helped them get to where they've gotten at this point, none of which have been able to get them over the hump so far until potentially Dusty May this year. But they've had a lot of success over the past 15 years, probably more, like less than they actually get, more than they get credit for,
I think we throw around the term blue blood just so loosely. I mean, they don't even have a national championship in the last, since 89. Like,
that's what I just said, though, if they get it done this year.
Sure, but we had this discussion, I think, a while ago just about who actually are the real blue bloods. And I've been clear, I like to look at it from a more modern history. I'm not talking the last 10 years, 15 years. I'd like to zoom it out about the last 20 to 25 years. I think it's a good way to look at it.
So, basically,
AKA UCLA, Indiana are phased out.
Yeah. So, basically, the way I think about it is if someone woke up from, a 2-3 year coma and you just handed them a bracket, who would they just kind of go to fill it out? Who would they favor in the tournament? This team's usually good.
That's a pretty weird way to look at it, I guess, but
That's
sure.
the way I think about it.
I guess. I think they would probably just see who are the 1 seeds and probably just pick them,
who would they trust,
Right. Yeah, sure, that's a good point. But they are absolutely not a blue blood. I think we've talked about this. I think multiple national championships is kind of just an automatic qualifier over a time span, and that time span surely isn't 40 years, so that would disqualify Michigan right away. Now, I do think that they're if they win a national championship, they're in that waiting tier of absolutely could be a blue blood. People were talking after UConn repeated, is UConn a blue blood?
UConn is most certainly
Of course they're a blue blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the people were hesitant to add them in because when you hear blue blood, everyone just automatically has Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, North Carolina, and that's just automatically the 4 that are given. And then people are like, well, but UCLA, it's so difficult to get added into that group. And one, I just want to say I'm not a guy that thinks MSU is a blue blood. They're not. I know a lot of people like to, have that argument. They're absolutely not. But I think that we do throw around that term a little bit too loosely. And some teams have been phased out, like Villanova, who won 2 national championships in 3 years.
Yeah.
Isn't considered a blue blood. Now, they don't have the long-term success of being really good over a long period of time. So, that plays into it.
They've also had a fall off since their coaching switch.
Of course, and I think that some other teams have, like that. That's why some people are like starting to feel a little bit weary about North Carolina, and I know they still made the tournament this year and everything, but even Kentucky at the end of the day. So, no, Michigan is not a blue blood if they win. That's my simple answer.
Fair enough. There is a fun stat that I think the Michigan fans will enjoy, that no team in the history of college athletics has won a March Madness tournament and a Frozen Four tournament in the same year. Michigan's got a chance to do that with the hockey team that's in the Frozen Four. Both teams into the Final Four teams, whatever that tournament is necessarily called. So there's a chance to make history there. Also a chance if the women's team picks up a win tonight and moves to the Final Four. According to Tony Paul of the Detroit Free Press, they'd be the first team in college athletics history to have women's basketball, men's basketball, and hockey team all in the Final Four as well. That's pretty good stuff, man. That's pretty good stuff for the Wolverine fans out there that obviously, we'll be telling you about that for a long time. 989-837-6125. Mitt line's open the rest of the show. We've got some Tigers to get to as well. And don't think we're just going to ignore the Spartans, because I think we might have to have an uncomfortable conversation about Tom Izzo coming up in a little bit. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. We talk about the home field advantage all the time on this show. Well, if your business uses propane, company with the home court advantage is Forward Energy. Since 1925, they've been serving our local community with propane and fuel solutions for homes and businesses. Local people, reliable service, Forward Energy, part of the home team.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky's. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Myth.
All right, couple more texts and then Kyle will hit the news. Jake says, Yaxel reminds me of Cade Cunningham so much. I love this dude, but Trey's obviously a UofM legend. Hard choice between the two of them. I never thought that about Yaxel comparing him to Cade. But big forward, handles the ball a lot, facilitates. I think he's a little bit more of a traditional wing than Cade ever was. Like, Yax, as much as he can facilitate, isn't a true guard. But interesting comparison, just kind of a do-it-all player. I'd have to go back and look at Cade in college to really compare the two of them.
Right. I mean, Yaxel's just much bigger than Cade was, obviously, in college from a height and weight standpoint. But, like, I kind of made fun of Damari Burnett when he said initially that he was Dominican LeBron. And then ever since he said that, he makes some plays where I'm like, yeah, he kind of does play like LeBron. Like
there was a play in the Sweet 16 game against Alabama where he drove into the rim and he was driving to the right side of the lane and kind of faked up and then passed a bounce pass to a cutting Damari Burnett who was cutting on the baseline. That was that is a play that I out loud said, "Oh my God, that's a LeBron play." The driving in, everyone's so worried about him going up and over everybody, and he just bounce passes it right here and dumps it off. It's like, oh my God, man, he just sees the floor better than everybody else on the team. Tony says, I think Burke is a better player. That Michigan offense just didn't flow as good as it could have when Burke played. Field goal percentage shows that. So the on-off numbers maybe suggesting. Yeah, I mean, I think Burke carried a team a little bit more than Yaxel had to. But with both of them, you couldn't get to a Final Four or however far, like or to a national championship without those star players, you know? I think Michigan would have been a better team without Yax this year than they would have been as a team without Trey Burke in 2013.
For sure.
But still, like, they needed both of these guys to actually get them over the hump and get them to a Final Four.
Yeah. I mean, this is just an overall better team, though. Like, if we do want to zoom out from the star player and just say what team is better.
This one.
I mean, this team is obviously better than that Michigan team was.
Yeah. Let's do one more. Howard says, I never liked comparing players against each other. With that being said, neither were highly recruited. Trey Burke won every award. Yaxel will be a better NBA player. I think that's a good way of comparing it. But again, like, as we've seen March Madness progress, I don't really know how many players were just more well-rounded than Yaxel this year. And it's easy to say that in hindsight, but he's not going to win the Wooden Award. I don't think it's all that crazy to say he should have.
Yeah, but
he wasn't as dominant as Boozer, but like
for sure.
He's just a more well-rounded player.
Saying that neither were highly recruited, a little bit, I mean, just different, right? Yeah, sure, Lendenberg was not highly recruited initially, but for sure, Lendenberg their route to go to Michigan, I mean, he was the number one player in the transfer portal last year. Yeah, he wasn't highly recruited when he was 17.
Right. In the same draft class or recruiting class as Cade Cunningham, by the way. Just a fun little nugget for you. What's going on behind you, by the way?
Is that old?
A little old. It's a little on the older side of things. It's nothing egregious, though. I don't know if it's a bit now or if people genuinely believe that he's 25 years old, but anytime I ever see a post about Yaxel Lendenberg, I don't know.
You don't know what is going on back there.
I don't know. I'm just going to ignore it. Anytime I ever see a post about Yaxel Lendenberg or we post something on Facebook about him and I look at the comments, it's all like, yeah, but he's 25 years old. And I have no idea if everyone actually believes that or if it's just a bit at this point.
Can I take some responsibility for that?
Yeah, because like every show are like, yeah, but he's 26.
I add a year every time. Like, so it's at this point he's 27. By the time he gets drafted, he'll be 28. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, man.
He's really not that much older than a fifth-year guy. He's 23.
He's a sixth-year guy, so of course, I mean, that's like, duh.
I know. Yeah, he's a little on the older side, of course, but that can't be the whole story. You know what I mean?
For sure.
We can't just discredit everything he's done because he's a little bit older.
And it's also like we can't sit here and act like, as much as I like to make jokes about it, every team has a guy like that.
Yeah.
It just so happens that their best guy is that guy, you know? So that's why it's highlighted so much.
Kyle Sandel, how about you take it away with the news?
Okay.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Really busy weekend of sports, Ben.
I know we had a ton of baseball. We had March Madness. We had the Frozen Four, the women's bracket as well, if you're keeping up on those two things.
Yeah, all that stuff. We're going to give updates on all of it. First off, though, let's look at the community calendar, as always presented by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Got to let everybody know, it's obvious here, but for the people that don't know, Loons Baseball returns this Friday. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
13. Can't wait.
Hopefully it's not raining, though. I don't know if anyone's checked the forecast. It's going to be rainy and snowy and cold after today throughout the rest of this week, so...
Enjoy today.
Yeah.
It's not lasting.
Exactly. Okay, you did mention it. The Frozen Four is set. Michigan versus Denver and North Dakota versus Wisconsin. No Western Michigan in there. No Michigan State in there. Man, a really rough weekend for the Spartans, losing in the quarterfinals of the Frozen Four and then losing, of course, to UConn in basketball.
The Sparty fans out there are going to have a real hard time if Michigan actually can get it done in both sports. There's a lot of Michigan fans out there that have probably never watched Michigan hockey that are going to tell a lot of people about Michigan hockey and how good of a program they are.
Same with women's basketball if they win tonight. Yeah.
The MSU fans, I don't blame you if you're going to hiding for a little bit, man. You're just a tough weekend in general.
Really tough. Yeah, it's very sad.
Because there was always that. It wasn't a joke, but it was like the fallback. Well, we're a hockey school now. I heard that a lot over the last year or so.
There's nothing to go to.
No.
They won the esports national championship.
Get out of here, man.
I saw that.
Get out of here.
We're esports school. You could pivot to that. Okay, speaking of that.
You know what you are? A party school. That's what it is. It's an awesome party school.
All right. Moving on. Speaking of that women's basketball game, Michigan versus Texas Elite 8 tonight. That's at 7 p.m. Texas big favorites. Looks like all the 1 seeds are potentially going to be in the Final Four again for the women's side, but the 2-seeded Wolverine women have a chance to pick up a dub tonight.
A 10 point. I mean, that's a lot. Like I said, though, if UofM is able to win tonight, they'd be the first team in the history of college sports to have a Frozen Four team, a men's basketball Final Four team, and a women's basketball Final Four team in the same year.
Which is crazy.
Be pretty cool.
That does not shock me that it's never been done, because that's just an absurd thing to do.
They also could be the first, even if they lose tonight, could be the first school ever to have a national champion in both men's basketball and hockey in the same year. Never happened.
Wow. That is pretty crazy.
I'm not sure if you've seen this graphic that's going around right now. Since 2016, only program in the entire nation with multiple college football playoff appearances and multiple Final Four appearances as well. Michigan. Everything's cool.
Everything's cool. That's, yeah. Let's just keep doing it, Why not? Okay, let's actually, one more thing on the women's basketball side of things. Going down to the D2 level, I don't know if you saw this, Ben. Grand Valley State.
I did see this.
National champions in the women's basketball at the Division II level. Pretty cool. Shout out the Lakers.
Shout out the Lakers.
Okay, let's do a little bit more on that Duke-UConn game, because I feel like it needs to be touched to a little bit more. Just unreal. Think about the last 5 years of Duke basketball. In 2022, they suffered probably the worst loss imaginable, right? The final year of Coach K. You're in the Final Four against North Carolina, and you lose that game against your arch rival in the last year of, like, the most legendary coach ever. One of the worst losses you could ever imagine.
This was worse.
Fast forward to 2025, last year, probably the best Duke roster, like, in the last 10 years, you could say, as far as NBA talent goes. Cooper Flagg, Con Knipple, who are both absolutely outstanding.
Your two favorites to win Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, outstanding NBA players right now. You're up late in the Final Four against Houston. I think they were up by 9 with like 4 minutes to go.
I think it was 7 with 2 minutes to go, or 90 seconds to go.
Just an unreal loss that happened in the Final Four last year.
Because you couldn't inbound the ball. They couldn't inbound the ball. What is this team's problem?
The full court press just gets to them. And so it's like, oh,
do they
man,
not practice against
that's
this?
actually the worst loss ever for Duke fans. Oh, what a tough loss. And then, of course, last night happens. I couldn't believe this. It was so fun to watch as a neutral fan, of course, because you didn't have any time to react. Like, after they get the steal, you're just like, oh.
But as soon as they got the steal, you knew that shot was going in. There was never a doubt about that. My like, didn't have time to react to moment was like, wait, UConn's winning right now. There's actually no way that they're legitimately up in the score. They've been losing since it was 2-0. That was the last time they had led. And they were down by as many as 19 points. Like, the fact that they were able to make it a single-digit game and then, like, a one-possession game was an accomplishment of its own. What happened there in the last 13 seconds was the most improbable loss I think I've ever seen in the tournament. Like, this is a little reminiscent of Christian Laettner's shot. Like, it's that sort of level of improbability that we saw happen yesterday against Duke.
The amount of people, like Jay Billis made a video after the game. He's like, I've covered college basketball. I've been in college basketball for so long. And this is probably the wildest ending I've ever seen.
All they had to do was hold the ball and get fouled and go to the free throw line and make a shot.
And, of course, like, everything's going to get pinned on Caden Boozer, of course. They also blew a 19-point lead before that. And I see people like, oh, they should have called a timeout. Why should they have called a timeout? They didn't need to call a timeout.
No, they should have just gotten fouled.
Exactly. Like, a lot of John Shire talk, of course, is being had. He didn't tell the like, I said, like, oh, he pointed at him to pass it. He didn't make the pass. Like,
no, they tell you this from your.
I don't know who to blame, honestly.
It's all Boozer's fault. Let's be honest. They teach you this from the time you walk on the floor as a freshman in high school. You fake one to make one, man. Get them jumping up high, make the pass low, or just don't pass it at all and get fouled. Like, what are you talking about? They couldn't inbound the ball earlier either, though. Like, that wasn't their first inbounding problem. They inbounded it, and then there was a jump ball immediately, and the possession went to UConn. Like, and they had all the momentum. I genuinely think that's the worst March Madness loss I've ever witnessed.
You said that. Like, what if that happened to your favorite team?
Oh,
What do you do?
Be on watch right now, man. That'd be like, I don't think I
don't
could
know how to
function
react
for the next week. That's again, the probability of that happening, the outcome of that game yesterday, it's the worst loss I think
it is
ever. At least in the last 20 years. Like, I think you might have to go back to the Laettner shot.
It's so tough. And I truly do feel for Caden Boozer, by the way, just because he already is like the twin brother that's 5 inches shorter than the National Player of the Year, who's going to be a top 3 pick in the draft.
The little booze.
Like, he's already like the little brother of a twin. Like, that's just that already in itself is bad.
He's going to be
not going to go to the NBA this year.
Poor
like,
booze,
and then that happens.
He's going to need some booze after last night.
Yeah, that's and also we talked about this pre-show. David Shoemate, the Duke play-by-play radio guy. If you haven't heard his call, go find it because he just has the most sickening call, and then he immediately is like, "Wait, UConn, they jumped off the bench. That should be a technical foul."
No, the best clip is the video of Grant Hill and Eagle and Raftery because you think Raftery just like dies and becomes a ghost.
Yeah.
Yes, he is speechless. He's like, like as if someone came back from the dead and took their pants down in front of him. He is shocked at what is happening.
Well, I see
it's
people
hilarious.
like giving Grant Hill crap. They're like,
"Oh, what do you want him to do?"
Grant Hill's reaction to this, dude. That's his school just lost in that way. Like, I respect his reaction. His reaction should have been way worse than that.
Yeah, he should have been punching Bill Raftery in the face.
Like, I would have jumped all over the call. No, like that's what I would have thought Grant Hill would have done. So it's the last thing I'll say here, and then we'll end the news. Is just it shows why the NCAA tournament is the hardest championship to win in sports. Because Duke, a team who year in and year out probably has a top 3 or top 1 roster in the game, right? Every single year, has not made the national title game since 2015. Like, that just goes to show how difficult this sport is to win. It's unreal. We'll save the rest of the news for later. Got a lot to get to.
There you go, 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. If you're looking for workwear that actually works as hard as you two, you got to head to Thomas's Trading Post. They've been proudly serving the Tri-County area for over 40 years, and when it comes to your trusted brands and dependable gear, they know their stuff. In fact, they've got the largest selection of Carhartt in the area, which means the selection you want and the quality you expect all in one place. Thomas Trading Post, built for work, built to last.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Okay, I'm really excited for this Tigers take that I got for you. That's at 10 o'clock. I wish we had more time to do this. Hopefully we save more time for ourselves at the end of the 10 o'clock hour. But we went a little long on the news making fun of Duke. I think it's time to have a conversation about Tom Izzo, though, and you got to be careful because it's easy to offend the Michigan State fans when talking about Tom Izzo. And let's get one thing clear. He's not going to be fired. No one's asking for that. No one's pushing him out. I'm simply asking the Michigan State fans, and Kyle, I'm asking you as well, are you getting tired of there being a ceiling with this Michigan State basketball team? Because after the loss in the Sweet 16 to UConn, I saw a lot of, well, I'm so proud of this team. We develop. We keep our guys here. I enjoy it. As if there is this moral high ground of we do things the right way. I'm not telling you can't be proud of your team. I'm just telling you, I think all of you would sell that away to actually win a national championship or get back to the Final Four. You'd get rid of all the, you'd hit the portal, you'd attack the portal, you'd pay your players and not do things the quote-unquote the morally right way. I'm so proud of this team. We do things this way. It's fine to think that, but I got news for you guys. It doesn't feel like Tom Izzo is going to get back to the Final Four as long as that is the way that they approach their roster in building so. And look, they've got a really nice recruiting class coming in. I always think the Michigan State's going to have this high floor. But even with that comeback in the second half, it did feel like Michigan State was just outmatched. And that's kind of how Michigan State has lost in the tournament for the last 5 years. They just end up running into a team that is just straight up better than them from a talent standpoint. They always overachieve with the roster they have. And if that's good enough for you Michigan State fans, then just tell me I'm wrong and I'll go screw off with this opinion. But I'm just genuinely wondering if you are getting a little bit annoyed that year in and year out, yes, your team overachieves, but at the end of the day, you run into a superior team, and it does feel like there's a ceiling as long as this is the way that Tom Izzo is running things. Again, not trying to phase Izzo out, simply asking the question.
Yeah, the dream is to win a national championship in the way that Tom Izzo and Michigan State fans want to, right? That is the dream. The issue is that's all it is. It's a dream. It's not a reality. Mm-hmm. It can't happen that way. The only way that it can happen is doing it the way Duke does it, because Duke doesn't really attack the portal either.
Yeah.
They also just get the top 3 freshmen in the country every year. You know, when you have the best player in the country coming in every single season, that's a freshman, then you don't have to go hit the portal, right? You can do it that way. That's the most difficult part about being a Michigan State fan in the Big 2-6 and just in post-COVID in general.
Yeah.
Is yes, I do 100% think it's necessary to recognize this team overachieved.
They always do.
You look at MSU versus UConn, it's like when I'm watching UConn versus Duke, yeah, I know UConn made the comeback. Michigan State was never beating Duke. I might have been blinded that they could have. I'm watching that game man, they're never beating that team. They would have never won that game.
No, they don't have the offensive output.
There was no world where Michigan and Michigan State both made the Final Four because MSU was never getting there. And I think it's also important to realize, like you said, this team should be better next year. They're returning Jeremy Fears, who I know had a rough tournament, absolutely. Likely returning Cohen Carr. I assume that he comes back. I don't really see a world where he goes to the NBA draft by any means.
No.
And if he was going to go to the portal, he would have last year. And you're bringing in this top recruiting class. The issue is they're just not going to go to the portal. They're not gonna. There's this talk about, if they add a center in the portal, a good quality center who could have potentially went toe-to-toe with Terrace Reed in that game against UConn, then they're going to be great. They're not going to, though. They're losing 2 starters. Yes, they're bringing 4 freshmen. And they're adding a guy in Caleb Glenn who was supposed to be an impact guy in the portal last year that never played. I'm with you. It's tough to be a fan of them because you can't make the argument of Izzo needs to change his ways. He's not
going to.
He's
not
going to.
It's a stupid conversation to have because he's not going to.
Izzo needs to attack the portal. He's not gonna.
The question I can present is just, are you annoyed with this? Would you?
Of course.
Would you trade all of this in to not do things the quote unquote morally right way? Because again, I saw a lot of this after the game that I'm so proud of this team. Come on, man. You can be proud of them. I'm not telling you.
Not at Michigan State. You can be proud of him if you're at some school that doesn't have a history of success.
Well, my point is, like, you can be proud of your team all you want, but at the same time, it's like you would trade in this proudness and this morally right way of doing things for a national championship if it meant just completely changing your way of doing it.
And the issue is Izzo is obsessed with doing it in his way, and that's just how it's going to be.
989-837-6125. We'll circle back to that and hold me accountable that we can save more time for that when we do that at the end of the 10 o'clock hour. I've got a Tigers take for you guys through one series when we come back. It's also Verlander Bump Day. Can't wait. See you in a minute.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUM, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Tigers, they're 2-1. They win their first series of the year, and then in the series finale, just 2 hits, bats don't really show up. But I think my biggest take with this Tigers team so far, of course, like McGonigal comes to mind as maybe the number one thing. And maybe, like, I don't even want to gloss over that, so I guess I will just tackle that here for a second. That 10 pitch at bat he had Friday night in the 8th inning, when they're losing the majority of the game, the offense is dead quiet. Their quote-unquote core of their lineup hasn't done anything for 2 games. McGonigal just being able to battle for 10 pitches and then come through with what could have been a home run. I was amazed. We haven't seen anything like that from a Detroit Tiger, at least any of their star players, in so long. Because obviously Green, Carpenter, and Torque. I guess Torque battles a little bit, but man, for McGonigal at 21 years old to go 10 pitches late into the game and come through with the game-winning hit that delivered two runs with the RBIs, and then take the lead for the Tigers for them to go on to win this thing, that shouldn't be overstated. But my number one takeaway, and again, it's early, so this could all change. My number one takeaway with this team through one series was there might be a little bit of a new core developing with them. You tell me if this is too early to say this or not. Obviously, through 3 games it is, but tell me if this is crazy to think. Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, and Spencer Torkelson through 3 games are a combined 3 for 40. 14 Ks, 6 walks. It has been Colt Keith, Dylan Dingler, and Kevin McGonigal that have been driving the offense early on. I don't want to call it a youth movement because Dylan Dingler's 27, even though he played his first year last year and was a Gold Glover, by the way. Is this the year he takes it a step further and just the offense? He becomes one of the best catchers in the American League, because we saw flashes of that last year. And that batting average of 278 is pretty high, man. It really is. He didn't play in the series finale, but last year he had a 278 batting average. This year, all ready to start the season, he's got 3 hits in 10 plate appearances. He's in a home run. He's a lone Tiger in a home run this year. So is this the year that, in year number 2, he takes a step forward and is one of the best hitters on this team in addition to being a Gold Glove behind the plate? Keith, I believe he leads the league leads the team in, he doesn't lead the team in hits, but he's 4 for 11 with some power too, and has drawn some walks. He's had incredible start to the season. And again, he's the only guy that Scott Harris is committed to long-term on this team, at least offensively. He's also done so, like he got paid without ever stepping foot on a major league field. They gave him that contract. And now he's suddenly turned into a somewhat versatile defensive player, being able to play first, being able to play second, and being able to play third. And on the days that that's not happening, he's just in that DH spot, it feels like. That's someone who's off to a blazing hot start. And then, of course, McGonigal, for everything that Scott Harris has talked about when discussing discipline in the box, owning the strike zone, we're seeing that come to fruition here with McGonigal. He's a perfect example of that philosophy in action. He's shown some power too, even though he doesn't have the home run. He had the 328-foot hit to the wall. He had the home run that got robbed on Friday night as well. It is early, but is there a new wave that is emerging for the Detroit Tigers that's actually going to be the spark that gets their offense from average at best to, hey, now this is a top 10 offense? And is there a new core being phased in? Is it too early to say all this? Of course. Is it something that actually could come to fruition this year? I don't see why not.
Yeah, I agree with the back half of that. Like, I think it absolutely could be something as the season develops. Like, clearly there is a priority list as far as who the Tigers are feeling more comfortable with going forward as the stars of this team in Colt Keith and Kevin McGonigal. Like, that wouldn't shock anyone.
And Dylan Dingler.
And Dylan Dingler, yes, I guess so. Like you said, I mean, I don't really count him as the youth group. I mean, he literally is in the group of Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson. Like,
he's older than both of them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, came up through the minors, you know, like in that same kind of time with those guys. So,
but I'm not calling it a youth movement as much as I am new blood, new core.
New core, I think, is probably the best way to put it, because the core that you initially thought of was Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, and I think Kerry Carpenter kind of just got tossed into that, like, and he came up out of nowhere, you know, out of, like,
he played his way into it.
Yes, it absolutely did.
3 for 40 for the 3 of them in the first series.
Yeah,
That's
pretty bad,
man.
Pretty bad. I think it's too early to like be incredibly concerned with that, just because it is what, like, they could come out tonight, have all of them have big games, and we're not concerned, right? Like, all it takes is one big game at this point in the year. But also, the first weekend of the MLB, like, all you're going to do is overreact. Like, it's just it's human reaction. All you're going to do is have overreactions to everything that happens. And so there's a reason to feel like, man, this is tough. Like, even though they went 2-1, the 0 runs put up on Saturday, and your top guys all not coming through. I mean, even McGonigal struck out 3 times. Like, that, of course, that's concerning. The amount of times they've struck out, I saw someone in our YouTube chat said that. Chris said the amount of strikeouts they have is concerning. Absolutely.
And specifically with Carpenter and Torkelson and Green, it's not like the result of the bat being a K. It's like, I mean, Carey's had some really rough at-bats to start the year.
As the leadoff hitter as well.
Come on, can we get him out of that spot, man? I know they're going up against the righty almost every day, but what are we doing? It's just the worst at-bat to start the game. For 3 games straight, it's just, hey, here's 3 pitches and 3 awful swing and misses. What is he doing in the leadoff spot?
It's just
I'm going to be a little annoyed if he's in the leadoff spot tonight.
We've talked about this. Like, it's from a position of we want him to get as many at-bats as possible until a lefty comes into the game, which is understandable.
But are we overthinking it?
But he's not doing good. You know, like, at the end of the day, like, a shift needs to be made. I saw something the other day or this weekend on Twitter, like it was his career OPS in every spot of the lineup. And in the 1 hole, he's like a 700 OPS guy. And in the 2 and 3 hole, he's like a 900 OPS guy.
E.J. Hinch
Those guys have access to those numbers.
Yeah, E.J. Hinch said last season he prefers him to not be in the leadoff spot, but a bunch of guys were hurt at the beginning of the year, so it wasn't What are we doing? Why is he in that spot right now then? Because nobody's hurt. I don't know what – the way that Colt Keith's playing as of late, 4 for 11 to start the year, can that guy just be in the leadoff spot?
Who was the leadoff hitter for most of the back half of the season last year.
Against righties, yeah.
Yes, and I know the back half of the season is not when the Tigers were at their best, but, like, this team still is searching. Like, most teams just know who their leadoff hitter is every day. Mm-hmm. The Tigers don't. Now, they have a lot of different – it's not like a bad thing that they don't, but, like, they have guys that could do it.
Yeah.
But certainly it's worth shifting things around after one series. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think I wouldn't be shocked if we saw a change tonight. But going back to your original question, like, this is something coming into the year that Colt Keith, we tagged as the breakout guy.
Yep.
This is the guy that as long as he's playing every day, which even the day that he wasn't playing third base, DH, and then he comes into the game when he wasn't in the lineup, like, I still think we're going to see him mostly every game, whether that's for 1 at-bat or for 4. It shouldn't be a surprise that he's having a good start to the season because we tagged him as that guy. And then Kevin McGonigal, we tagged as the guy to be the next superstar of the team.
And
so, like,
check.
Exactly. So as far as that stuff being pushed forward as these guys are the duo, and we can add Dingler into that to make it a trio, sure.
I was going
why
to say,
not?
Dingler's the guy this offseason. It's like, hey, guys, I'm still here. Nobody's really talking about me.
I was a Gold Glover.
And I hit 278.
And was a pretty good bat, yeah. And I hit a dong in the opener.
Yeah, and I'm the only Tiger to hit a home run so far this year. Like, I think he's the guy that's kind of just slid under the radar of I don't know for what reason other than he plays catcher, but if he's going to keep playing like he has been to open up the year, which is better than was last year. Last year he struck out a lot.
Yeah.
But if he
I think I know why he slid under the radar.
Because we had McGonigal and Keith to talk about?
No, I think you can go even deeper. I think it's because every time you think about the Tigers farm system, you're like, oh, they got Josue Briseño as a catcher who's going to be here eventually. Tyrone Lorenzo came to Detroit and all of a sudden was this big-time prospect. Like, you think about the future of the catcher position. Look at the now.
Yeah,
look at the guy who's there. Dylan Dingler should be your catcher for the next 8 years.
I was going to say, I got tough news for Briseño and Lorenzo. Those guys better learn how to play first base if they want any shot of playing, because I think Dingler's here to stay.
I'm with you.
Those 3 guys, it's too early to say this definitively now. By the end of the year, is this the new core of the team? And all of a sudden, Riley Green is just kind of another bat on the team. Spencer Torkelson, just kind of another bat on the team. Kerry Carpenter, just simply a platoon guy. I think it's probably a little early to say that about Riley Green. He's made some nice plays in the outfield.
Has he?
They sure appear as nice plays. Loves going down out there. Riley's going to show up eventually and hit some home runs. And Torque and Kerry will as well.
Yeah.
But with Torque and Kerry specifically, is there a chance that by the end of the year, Keith, McGonigal, and Dingler have kind of phased them out in terms of who the heart of this lineup is? I don't think that's off the table.
Wouldn't shock me at all, especially with Kerry just, of course, is going to be a platoon guy. And McGonigal clearly has shown that he is not. I mean, McGonigal's going to be in every lefties, righties, late in the game, early. It doesn't really matter. I have an overreaction for you.
Let's hear it.
Are the Navy jerseys cursed?
After one game, they couldn't get a hit?
I was thinking about this. By the way, cool, like unreal jersey. Those Navies are.
Yeah.
The
socks are really nice.
They popped off to me even more than I thought they would. Like on the field, oh my goodness. I still haven't gotten one yet. I don't know why. I absolutely have to because those are just awesome jerseys. and I want them. I wish they were wearing them at home too because they're so cool. Would you trade them never wearing them again if it meant that they would never score 0 runs?
This whole season?
Yes.
Yeah, probably.
Obviously, they're not cursed, but I thought of that hypothetical, and I was just like, that's kind of an interesting one.
I for sure would.
Yeah.
That has to be the answer. They've worn them
yeah.
once. I'm not that attached to them. I don't have one.
I think I'm extremely attached to them because they've only worn them once. I want to see them every day.
Just them to be the road jerseys. I don't love the grays on the road, to be honest, so I wouldn't be mad at that.
Sure.
By the way, everybody, it's Justin Verlander bump day. First time in. You give me a ballpark guess how many days it's been. See how close you can get.
How many days it's been?
Since Verlander took the mound for the Tigers.
Okay, like 2017-18 was the right time, so about 9 years. 365 days in a year will take off about 300. I'll go like 3,100 days.
Kyle, just with incredible mental math, 3,134 days. You're 34 days off, and I didn't expect you to take like a round number. No way you just dabbed on camera. Okay. That's time to that means it's time to go to break if Kyle's going to do that. 989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Got to tell you about Ace Hardware located downtown Midland. This weekend, I got to admit something. I never really cleaned up my leaves in my backyard. I just kind of raked them into big piles throughout the winter.
You always talked about how you were going to do that,
I know.
too.
Well, I bought a rake from there in the fall. Raked them all up into the corner. I got a little fenced-in backyard. Never took care of them. You know what I did this weekend? Took care of them. Went to Ace Hardware. Got myself some of those big leaf bags to get rid of all the leaves.
Leaf bags, yeah.
Is that what they're called? Yard waste bags?
They're just trash bags.
No, they're way stronger than trash bags. Put all my leaves into there. Boom. Backyard looks good as new. Ace Hardware, located downtown Midland, your place to get geared up. Get your yard geared up for spring this time of year. Stop in on East Main Street in the heart of downtown Midland, helping you get ready for the seasons ahead while supporting your community.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on one. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
Got a text that says, at what point does McGonigal get moved to the leadoff spot? Not a bad guy to have in the leadoff spot. Is it crazy to say I kind of just want him batting when there's as many runners on as possible? Like, not to say he's going to be this 20 home runs guy and be able to clear everybody, but the guy that's giving the most quality at-bats consistently, I feel like I just want in the heart of the lineup most of the time rather than in the leadoff spot so he's a chance to drive some runs in. No?
Yeah, I think that's like a pretty logical take.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I mean, like, I wouldn't be mad if they put McGonigal in the leadoff spot because,
I mean, it's better than Carey.
That means he's getting as many at-bats as possible, and I love watching Kevin McGonigal bat. So I wouldn't be mad about it, but like McGonigal in like the 3-hole feels great. I don't mind where he's at right now either, though.
I mind him in the 2 spot, honestly. Just get him a lot of at-bats, but there's not like a ton of pressure to drive people in if the first bat ends up as a
Wouldn't that go against what you just said, though?
Yeah, but like, well, if Kerry Carpenter's in the leadoff spot, it's not going to be a lot of opportunities to bat people in.
True.
Oh my God, man, he's been the worst guy in the lineup through one series, and I don't even think it's close. He's just like a walking strikeout right now. The way that we felt about Riley at the all-time lows of last year, that's the vibe that Kerry Carpenter's giving off in the first 3 games.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 3 games. You could turn that around in one series, but good
Totally.
God, it was an awful series for Kerry Carpenter.
What's the point of being a platoon bat if you can't even hit righties? You know, like they faced ultra righties in that San Diego series, and it just didn't matter.
What? They might have faced one lefty out of the pen?
Yeah, not a ton.
And they play another righty tonight, so we'll see what that lineup card ends up looking like later on in the day. But it's Justin Verlander bump day, man. I can't believe this. We've arrived, and it's unfortunate that the game starts at 10:10. But with OKC and the Pistons playing at 9:30, I have a feeling I'll still be up for both of these games tonight. I'm really excited to watch Verlander, obviously. I don't really think it's crazy as well to say what we were kind of talking about in that last segment, that maybe by the end of the year, Torkelson and Carpenter specifically, maybe Green in a different way, but Torkelson and Carpenter become just more bats on this lineup where Dylan Dingler and Keith have kind of taken their spots as the heart of the lineup guys. And then Riley's going to be a productive hitter this year. Rough start again. But rather than Riley Green being the best player on the team, what if that's more so Kevin McGonigal and then Torque and Carey have been replaced by Keith and Dingler? I don't think it's all that crazy. Overreaction or proper reaction? Let's just put it that way. That by the end of the year, that's how things unfold.
Man, you're making me make a decision on that through 3 games.
3 games.
I think just based off of that, I have to say overreaction.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be mad, though, because that means that those guys had awesome seasons. Like, of course, it also could mean that Riley, Torkelson, and Carp, like, underperformed.
Yeah.
But McGonigal and Keith would have to have great years for us to actually think that.
Yeah. And
no
I
matter
think that
what.
means it's a top 10 offense.
So I wouldn't be mad about it, but I guess I will default say it's overreaction because it is, like you said. I mean, anything that you have takeaways from that is an overreaction. Can I say something, though, about the 10-10 start, like you said? It actually is ridiculous to start the season, the Tigers go out west for 2 series. That actually is ridiculous.
2 years in a row,
about
right?
it. But for at least the Dodgers series, it was like, hey, you get the Dodgers. It's going to be on TV where everyone can watch it on ESPN for the opening game. Like, it was at a reasonable time. It wasn't at 10 p.m. to start things off. The fact that the Tigers opening 2 series out west, an East Coast team, that's just wrong. If you're going to be on the road for 2 series to start the year, do not put them out west for both of them. Like that, the MLB for scheduling that, the more and more I've thought about that, that is just ridiculous. I mean, I've had people text me, like, I haven't even been able to really watch the Tigers because some people, they go to bed early like most people do. I just think it's kind of stupid. That's all I got to say.
They did do this last year, though, because their second series was in Seattle, and they had all those late-night games. Like, this is kind of just how they do it. I mean,
but like to open up the season?
I think the theory behind it is we're saving cold weather games or weather games. Like, that's probably the number one consideration in it. The earlier we play in Detroit, the colder it's going to be, but it's still going to be cold in Detroit on Friday. So
exactly. Like, and it I guess it builds up opening day even more because people haven't really got to watch the Tigers that much, before they get to return home. But I don't know. I just think I think it's pretty ridiculous.
I'm with you for the fans. For the players, I don't think they mind it.
Of course they don't.
On the West Coast and being a warm.
They honestly
for a while.
probably like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you get to play in Arizona this week. Like, that sounds pretty awesome.
It is weird to think about, though. They probably haven't been in Detroit since last October, right?
Oh, they've had to have come back to Detroit for like a media day or something, right?
Wouldn't media days be in?
You're right.
I'm sure a lot of them live in Detroit.
Come to Detroit. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw it. Tarek Skubal was in Detroit this offseason doing this whole tour. Yeah, we've got Verlander back on the mound tonight, though, which is something that every Tigers fan can all agree on. Just
can't wait. Ultra
excited. Although I think tomorrow's game is a different start time. Like, it's a little bit earlier. Yeah, tonight's 10:10. And then tomorrow's 9:40, which still late.
So much earlier.
I wish they would swap those Verlander games, though, so we could all watch Verlander.
Well, you don't want to watch Casey Mize?
Not to say that I don't want to watch Casey Mize, but we're not going to get... Wait. Isn't Skubal's not going to be starting April 3rd back in Detroit?
No, I mean, the rotation doesn't work out that way. It's Framber Valdez.
I know, but I thought they were going to tweak it on purpose at the beginning of the year so that the home opener could be Tarek Skubal. It's going to be Framber. Nothing against Framber, but we're not even getting Skubal in the opening series.
In AZ, yeah, which I think he's an Arizona fan of those teams. Like, I don't know if he's necessarily.
Don't let me know all that stuff, man.
Yeah, no,
I don't like hearing.
You're right. Well, did you see what they're doing for Verlander? Because he's starting on Easter, and that's going to be his return to Detroit. They're like giving out T-shirts, like "Welcome Back Verlander" shirts for everybody.
And it's on Peacock.
On Easter. Oh, kind of cool, huh? Mm-hmm. Little bird Easter action. Chris in the YouTube chat says, I'd put Easter. Keith at leadoff. McGonigal, he says Mick G, by the way. Nice. Shout out to Chris for using Mick G. Mick G at 3 and Carp in the 6 hole. So Keith 1, McGonigal 3, Carp 6.
I'd have Carp. I'd put Torque in the 6th spot, honestly. Because I still think I'm going to hold out some hope that Carpenter can be awesome against righties again this year. Obviously, through 8 games, I'm not just going to sell all my stock on the kid. By the way, I saw another nickname for Kevin McGonigal this weekend, presented by our guy Chris Castellani. Called him the Mac. That's pretty good.
I think someone threw that in the YouTube chat last week too when we were doing the thes.
Yeah.
I don't mind the Mac.
I'm also just
return of the Mac.
I'm a little bit more open to Magoo now. I will say that.
It's I don't like it.
It's growing on me a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We have to be anti-Magoo on this show.
Magoo. I like it a little bit.
Esco says never play Jake Rogers ever again.
Okay. Well, Dingler can't. I thought it was a little crazy. Dingler got a day off that early in the year.
Sure. I mean, most of the time, though, like in a 3-game series, one of the games the backup catcher plays. Like, it just always works out that way.
Sure. Yeah. I guess it's a ridiculous thing
with the day off on Sunday, you're right. Like, you're right. A little bit like, oh, come on. But it's this early, yeah.
What were your first thoughts on Framber?
I mean, exactly. I was mainly just like, wow, it's awesome that he's on the Tigers.
Yeah.
Like, that was my immediate reaction because, I mean, you watch this guy pitch in Houston for a long time. Like, always has been a stud for Houston. Like, just consistently gets it done. Sinker ball pitcher, just a really tough guy to get anything going against consistently.
Yeah.
And that's what my immediate thought was. I wasn't, like, shocked by anything that he did on the mound. It was just like man, it's so nice to have him as the number 2. Like,
not a crazy high strikeouts guy.
No. I mean, he never really has been.
But efficient.
It's super efficient. And think about all year last season, how many times we did who's the Tigers' number 2 starter?
Yeah.
Oh, Casey Mize is the number 2. Like, that was like, is it Jack Flaherty? Could Troy? Like, I was so sick of that conversation.
But it was a valid conversation because no one would claim it.
And now, guess what the conversation is going to be? Who is the Tigers' number 3 starter?
Well, that's a fine problem to have.
Because Framber Valdez has locked up that number 2 spot. And that's just the part that I was taken away from his start the most. So just like, man, it's so nice to securely have your number 2 starter.
McGonigal and Baez are going to get a lot of work with him on the mound on the left side of the field. Yeah. They're going to have a lot of opportunities to turn double plays when Framber's out there. I thought they left him out there a little bit too long for how early they pulled Tarek Skubal in his game. I thought when he gave up the first base runner and there was still some lefty-righty matchups that were coming, I thought they left him out there a little bit too long, and then they ended up giving up runs. But it didn't matter because they ended up going back and winning that game thanks to Kevin McGonigal's 10-pitch at-bat a little bit later on. But I liked it. It was a lot of good signs. So Verlander on the mound.
I have a quick question for you.
What's up?
Opening weekend ABS thoughts.
Bad. Hate it.
You hate it.
Hate it.
You hate it. Did you see the Eugenio Suarez clip where he challenged back-to-back strike 3 pitches on him, and he was right both times?
I think the reason that I dislike it so much is 2 reasons. A, it is not instantaneous. This takes like 25 seconds, which to end an inning is weird. It's really weird. I think the second reason I don't like it is there are so many. How many pitches throughout the course of a game are right on that right on that line? A lot of them, and just 2 of them are randomly going to be challenged now out of complete randomness. The third reason I don't like it feels like everyone is just going to hog these until the 8th and 9th inning, and then you're just going to get it 4 times.
Right.
It's the end of these games.
It's like getting all the replays and timeouts at the end of basketball games.
Which just changes the strike zone in the last 2 innings of a game. The third reason I don't like it is it expands the strike zone by an entire ball length. Because if you get just a hair, just one seam of the baseball in the strike zone, it's a strike.
I mean, that's always how it is. Like, that's how a strike should always be called.
Sure, but we're talking
touches
about
the black, it's a strike.
Now we're talking about the hairline making a difference on a ball or strike call, when in reality it should be up to the umpire and
Sure.
honestly up to the pitcher to work the strike zone throughout the course of the day to earn that being a strike. If you're crazy all day and you can't throw a strike, guess what? When you throw that pitch that hairline touches the strike zone, probably going to get called for a ball because you were terrible throughout the entire game.
I think I've come around on it. I think I like it. We
Really?
saw the Dylan Dingler challenge, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
worked out for the Tiger. That was on Friday night, I think. That was pretty cool. I think I've come around on it. I think I like it. I still need, because I hated it after the first game.
Yeah.
And after a full weekend and seeing other teams use it, I think I like it. It just exposes bad umps. CB Buckner's a terrible umpire, and he got exposed on back-to-back pitches against Suarez. I thought that was great. Instead of just, arguing about it and getting ejected from the game for arguing a bad call, I think I've come around.
No, I'll zag. I'll zag. I like when players argue and get ejected from the game. It's fun.
Until it's your own
part
guy.
of baseball.
Sure.
I just think it's becoming way too much of a perfectionist sport, where there's supposed to be some imperfection and ability to work the zone throughout the course of a game.
Sure.
And now it's like, hey, we're going to do that for 7 innings, and then these last 2 innings, we're just kind of changing the way the game's played.
I guess my last thing is that I just think it's not as bad as the replay, slow it down to the 1.01 speed and it barely touches this guy's finger in in basketball.
Yeah, but now
it's never going to be as bad as
territory,
that. It's
though.
never going to be as bad as that, though, and I think that's why I don't mind it so much.
I think when a pitcher and there's this crazy strike zone, I think when a pitcher works the zone all game long, and then in the 7th inning, it's just like, hey man, we're just gonna start challenging everything. It just gets weird. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to actually think is a strike or not now. I wish they'd get rid of the strike zone on the.
Yes, I 1,000% agree.
It just
especially
makes it
with
way
ABS
too easy.
now. Get rid of the strike zone thing
On the TV.
Absolutely, get rid of it on the TV.
It makes it way too
it's
easy
pointless
for fans.
Now. It's so pointless now. I agree with John here in the YouTube chat. Pitchers have to earn the zone? ? No, a strike is a strike and a ball is a ball. Agreed.
No, I disagree. That's not how baseball is taught. Maybe it is now.
You disagree? It's not how it's taught. What do you mean? A strike is a strike.
Correct, but you got throughout the course of a game, you can work the zone a little bit, and now that's impossible. And I can't believe Passon's this is the greatest thing we've ever had since sliced bread. No, it's not. This is controversial, and I'm not a fan of this. I'm sure there's some people out there that agree with me, but the fact that the Passon's out there, thank God that we have this ABS system. Otherwise, baseball would be full of ravages and savages. It's ridiculous. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it so far. 989-837-6125. We'll take a trip around the league when we come back. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, let's time out from basketball, time out from Major League Baseball. Let's do a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
We are 2 days away from it being draft month. That's exciting. We're creeping up. And I know this isn't in the rundown, Kyle. Maybe we'll do it in the news. I have to get something off my chest about Taylor Decker. He finally spoke today, or over the weekend, about how things unfolded.
Dude, this was kind of crazy.
I want him to shut up, and I never want to hear from him again.
Really? You're zagging on this. I thought everybody was anti-Lions and on Decker's side for this.
Well, clearly somebody's, whether it's Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes, at fault a little bit for the Lions. But Decker hit.
Let's just do it right now. Let's just do it right now.
Okay, he's been around for a while, right? 10 years he spent with the Lions. I feel like he thinks he's a Ring of Honor guy. That the Lions owe him all this, like, I've been here forever, I'm a legend. Man, you were a really good tackle at best. That's what you were. You were a good tackle. You were never a great tackle, never one of the best tackles on the team. You never one of the best players on the team. You were a good tackle. And I feel like he wants this special treatment as if he's a Ring of Honor guy and is going to the Hall of Fame and is one of the greatest Lions ever, when that's just simply not the reality of things. I think Decker views himself one way. The Lions obviously viewed him another. And I don't blame the Lions for viewing him like that because, dude, you couldn't practice for the better part of a year and a half. Your shoulder was hung together by paper clips and glue. It became frustrating time and time again that we didn't know if you were going to play or not, that Giovanni Manu was your backup and we had to wonder if you were healthy. Then you contemplated retirement for 3 years. I think he thinks of himself like this, and everyone else thinks of himself like this. I think he's way further from the reality of things than the Lions were. Do I blame the Lions for a little bit of miscommunication? Yeah, it clearly seems 100%. Like that was the way that it unfolded. But I'm equally, if not more, frustrated with Taylor Decker for viewing himself in this high regard, like he's this Ring of Honor type of guy, when he never was. He was a good center. He was a good tackle. That's what he was.
The Lions are the ones to blame here. I think that's fair.
He's
also
whining.
think
That's what annoys me.
Sure, he is. I think a reason why he probably is because he was with Frank Ragnow his whole career, who is treated like a Lions legend.
Because he is.
Sure, but like that, you understand why he feels that way, right? Like they were like a partnership. I mean, they were like the two OGs of the Lions.
If he can't see that Frank Ragnow is just significantly better than him in his career, then he's blind. I mean, because he's not. He's not. Don't tell me that they're on the same level.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. As a grown man, like you're just not going to be confident in your ability and think like I'm an elite player. I deserve this. Like he has the right to feel that way.
He has the right to feel that way. I also think the Lions had the right to ask him to take a pay cut.
Sure.
He wasn't living up to that contract at all, and I don't think. And he's like, I'm so offended by this that they would even think to ask me to take a pay cut. Brother, you couldn't stay healthy. All right? The only way you were coming back is if you were less than a $22 million cap hit. So is there a miscommunication on behalf of the Lions from Taylor Decker's side of things? Yeah, it sounds like there might be. I'm also just sick of him whining about it.
Is this probably the end of the Taylor Decker stuff?
Yeah, well, he's certainly not coming back to Detroit based on that Justin Rogers piece.
You know where he's going to
end up? He's going to end up with the Bears. He's going to go play for Ben Johnson as a pure stick it to the Lions.
But, like, either way, like, even if you feel this way about Taylor Decker, this still overall just sucks for it to go down this way.
Sure.
Like, we would, of course, rather it not go down like this.
Yes, 100%. I agree with that. But I do think that there is just a lack of self-awareness from him in understanding the situation he found himself in and how unreliable he was for the most part of last year. I think
that's why. Like, I agree with you on that perspective of it. Rather than looking at it from his whole career, just based off of how last season went and the injury stuff and how he never practiced, like, that should be the reason why he's got to look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I understand why they asked me for a pay cut.
And also, save me, like, now looking back at the end of the year, too, like the sob fest of, I don't know if I want to play. I want to be able to be a good dad for my family and throw football with them. And now he's just playing. Like, what are we talking about, man? Why did you do this whole sob fest at the end of the year, talk about how you're afraid of not being a good dad, just to go back and play more football? Like, I'm sorry, man. I just don't feel bad for the guy anymore.
That's fair. All right, I'm holding you to it. Let's make that around the league and save whatever you had for tomorrow because you want to talk about Tom Izzo.
All right.
You told me to hold you to it.
You did. That's what we're going to do. That's Around the League. Presented by Aired Insurance. Life happens fast. Aired Insurance, they're with you the whole time. They want to personalize their service to suit you and your needs, whether it's life, home, auto, fiscal insurance. It's all available with the Aired Insurance Group with Farm Bureau Insurance.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
We did get a text that said, Ben, you won't be a fan of ABS until the Tigers don't have a challenge and the ump makes a crucial strikeout against them when it was clearly a ball. No, I think I'll just be mad at the system, and then I'll just be mad at the Tigers for using it earlier on in the game.
I don't really get this bit.
It's not a bit. I just don't like it.
You just like bad calls? Someone said that in our YouTube chat. Esco says, I think Ben just likes, or Pizza Man said, I think Ben just likes bad calls. It sounds like that's the case.
I don't like the bad calls, but when something gets overturned by like a literal hairline, like, okay, if anyone who likes ABS, do you just want robot umps the entire time? Is that what you want? Is that what people are hoping for?
It's a valid question. Valid question.
I don't get why we're doing an in-between thing. You know what I mean? Like, if you like it, then you like it. So maybe there's people out there that actually want it to be robot umps the entire time. That's when I think we just lose the. What is going on right now? Okay, let's do Tom Izzo and the Spartans. We got a text that says, this won't be very popular, but Tom Izzo is the most overrated coach in college basketball. He consistently has a top 5 recruiting class every year, but he hasn't won a national championship in 26 years. I wouldn't even classify him as a great coach. Good, yes. Hurley, Coach K, those are the great ones. Not Tom Izzo. Agree or disagree with that?
That he's not a great coach?
Yeah. I disagree.
I mean, that's if you don't think Tom Izzo's a great coach, I don't know what to tell you.
No, I disagree with that.
Sure, you could say he's not like in the all-time, like he's not the best ever. Sure, that's fine. You could say he's not the best in the game currently. I agree with that as well.
But to reiterate what I was saying earlier, it's that, again, I'm not going to sit here and say, pound my fist and say Tom Izzo needs to hit the portal, because he's just not going to. I do question if the Michigan State fans are growing a little sick of this overachieving routine, and then eventually you run into a team that's just clearly better than you in the tournament, and it's just like, man, there has been, and it feels like maybe will always be, a ceiling on the Michigan State Spartans as long as he is the head coach. Because I saw a lot of this after the game of, well, I'm so proud of this Spartans team. Look, man, if you want to be proud of your basketball team, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. But I know damn well that you would trade in all the morally righteousness and the, we're going to do things the right way and develop. You'd trade all that in for a national championship or a trip to the Final Four. And if you're not, I think you're lying to yourself, or you're just dumb. Like, of course.
You're just dumb? Come on.
There's no way.
Ben,
There's no way
people actually have morals. Some people actually have those.
But using the transfer portal is not bad ethics or bad moral anymore.
Sure, it depends.
It's crazy that Michigan State fans have convinced themselves that we are standing on a high ground and are better than everyone else because we develop and keep guys here for 4 years. Dude, that doesn't matter, and it's holding you back. That's all I'm saying. So when I see people, I'm so proud of this team, I'm like, what are you talking about, man? You can be, again, I'm not going to tell you can't be proud of your team. But come on, wouldn't you rather just go to a Final Four? How is this even in question?
Sure, but I think that when it comes to the moral stuff, and it's not all compared to Michigan. I think that's kind of how you're looking at this, because there's other ways that teams are doing this that are clearly just against everything that everyone believes in college basketball, like bringing in the G League players, like
yes,
bringing in the guy. You know, like I think that stuff is when the morals come into play here,
sure.
Right? And so. It's easy to compare it to Michigan. And one, like, I just want to make this clear. I'm 100% with you. Like, it should not be viewed as a successful season ever if you don't make the Final Four on a Michigan State basketball team. They should have the expectation of going to the Final Four every single season.
And it feels
is
like
their roster,
it's not going to happen.
I agree. Like, is the simple question of, will Tom Izzo ever go back to a Final Four? Like, simple answer, I think, should just be no. Because of the way that college basketball has adjusted to – You have to hit the portal every year. You have to be able to develop talent in a shorter period of time. Guys like Carson Cooper, good stories. Are they going to work out in the long run? No. But I do think that, like, you look at these just the post-COVID era for Michigan State, their rosters are just not very good. Mm-hmm. Like, they just have not had the roster of, like, wow, that team could go to the Final Four. Even this year's team, you're right, it had a ceiling. I think their ceiling was the Elite Eight. I think if they even somehow Scrape that game out against UConn. They're never beating Duke. It's that simple. And the reason why it hurts so much for the Michigan State fans, it wouldn't be so bad. It's because Michigan has passed them. It's because Michigan and Dusty May have come in and in 2 years have built a Final Four team and potentially a national championship team that quickly. That's why it's so bothersome.
And I feel like the Michigan State, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like the Michigan State fans get really defensive of, well, we watch our guys
100%.
develop. We do things the right way. Man, there's not a right or wrong way of doing things anymore. You're right about the G League guys. That's ridiculous and shouldn't be allowed in college basketball. But you can't – the State fans that – again, like no one's asking for Izzo to be fired. Everyone loves Tom Izzo. There will be a statue built of him. I have to make that clear. Otherwise, people get really upset. Tom Izzo's a great coach, okay? But the people that are like, well, we develop. We don't attack the portal. We want to see these guys play through. Like, man, I think as long as that's going to be the philosophy at Michigan State, you're going to be real proud of your team making the Sweet 16 every year.
Well,
rather
you know
than
why
making
people
to the Final
say that
Four.
though, right? They have nothing else to say because that's how it is.
They
like
could be,
it's
they
not
could be
going
annoyed
to change.
and they could show their frustration.
Well, but like, sure, be frustrated for what? Nothing's going to change. Like it's as long as Tom Izzo is there, that's how it's going to be. And so you have no other option but to support that style.
But two things can be true at the same time for a Michigan State fan. You can be frustrated with what's going on and also understand that Tom Izzo is going to have a statue built of him one day, but also press him a little bit more of like, man, this is not okay. Like, not going to a Final Four is not okay. But he's at the point of his career where none of those media guys are pressing him about that. No one's going to do that to him, you know? Everyone loves Izzo, and they're not going to.
When he leads his press conference, immediately after the loss to UConn by saying, "Yeah, I'm going to the transfer portal," except the transfer portal is a little bit different at Michigan State.
Yeah,
it's
man.
in my own locker room. Like, what are you supposed to ask him about with the transfer portal then? And so once again, I say all this, and I am one of those fans that's frustrated. I do think that there absolutely is a ceiling on the current way that Michigan State operates, and that's an issue. Because that should never happen at MSU. It should always be get to a Final Four as the goal, year in, year out. Next year's team, though, should be better.
I agree.
It should be a better roster coming into this season. I think it's okay to sit here and recognize, hey, they were picked 6th, I think, to be in the Big Ten. This was supposed to be a down year based off of the really good year that they had prior. It was a worse roster this season, and they had an awesome year. I think it's okay to say that. But also, it's also very okay to be frustrated about the way that things ended. Because they absolutely should be a team that's fighting for a Final Four year in and year out. And the fact that going into the tournament, no one really had ultra confidence that they were going to, that's an issue. That's a problem for a Michigan State team that has such a great history.
Yeah. No, I mean, I echo everything you're saying. And maybe if I'm being a little, vulnerable and honest right now, it pissed me off when I saw all I'm so proud of this team. Dude, you went to a Sweet 16. What do you mean? This should be the standard. You should be pissed off that Michigan State isn't still playing and not in the Final Four yet again for another year in a row. Again, since 2019, they have not been in the Final Four. Yet for some reason, Michigan State fans have convinced themselves, well, I'm so proud of them. We do things the right way. No one else stands in the moral high ground that Michigan State does when it comes to building a basketball roster. None of that matters anymore, man. None of that matters.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what's going on. Illinois is in the Final Four, man. That team was cursed for 20 years.
Yeah.
Illinois
got all their Euro guys.
Illinois is in the
team.
Final Four because they built their team through Europeans. Yeah, exactly. It's just different nowadays. And we can talk about how, you don't like the way that college basketball is now, whatever, this or that. It's the reality, though. You can disagree with it, but it's just how things go nowadays. And you adapt or die. That's how it is.
No, I don't think that's true because you can do what Tom Izzo's doing and just kind of survive and tread water and make the Sweet 16.
Sure, but that's not.
That'd be a good year.
But that's the issue is Izzo doesn't implement that. He's not the one saying, well, I'm proud of this team. This was a successful year. He doesn't believe that. He's so obsessed with wanting to get it done his way. And that's the dream. But like I said earlier, that's all it is. It's just a dream because it's not a reality.
I don't think that guy's ever hanging it up until he gets back to a
I don't
Final
think
Four.
so either. He's
I think
obsessed.
He's just coaching himself into his
He's
grave.
obsessed. I mean, every time they ask him about anything with their trying, he goes, yeah, honestly, I think I'm not even close. I don't even know why you would ask me that.
Yeah.
I know why I would ask you that. You're getting pretty old, man.
Similar to how we saw, we knew Michigan was kind of special from November this year. We all saw early signs of it. I think we're going to have to see that with Michigan State because I don't think there's going to be this like, well, they just try harder than everybody else team that makes it to the Final Four. That's done. That's not going to happen again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're going to see
that was kind of their team this year, right? Like even they get down by 20 points against UConn, they come all the way back, and it's like because of effort. You know, like how did they even come back? I don't even know.
The Tom Izzo era of we're going to hustle harder than everybody else and play defense, that's not getting you to a Final Four. We have to see it in the regular season, and who knows? Maybe it could happen next year with this recruiting class coming in, but that also requires him to play freshmen.
Yeah,
we all know he doesn't really
outside
like
of
doing
Jace
that.
Richardson, that hasn't really ever happened.
989-837-6125. And by the way, Ethan Taylor, kind of the exact same profile coming in as Xavier Booker, so a little worrisome there. A little worrisome.
Yeah, you're right.
989-837-6125. Well, that's the team that lost. How about the team that won? The Michigan Wolverines on to the Final Four. Yaxel Lindenberg, fantastic. That's when we come back.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Michigan makes its way to the Final Four, dominant fashion. There's a couple really good historical things to go through with Michigan that it's like, hey, no team has ever done this. I think one of the things that should be mentioned right off the top, and we don't have to spend too much time saying it, is could be the first team in, well, not even Michigan basketball, Michigan as a school, could be the first team in NCAA history to have a Frozen Four championship and a Final Four, like March Madness championship in the same year. That'd be pretty cool. Both Michigan hockey and Michigan basketball advance to the final or Frozen Four. Could be the first team ever to have those two and the women's basketball in the Final Four. Would be the first program or first school to ever do that as well. But specific to the basketball program, a couple of the historical things are really interesting here. They are, well, the fact that they scored 90 points and had a double-digit win in each of the first 4 March Madness games with a total point differential of 100 is kind of insane. 33-point win is the largest blowout in an Elite Eight game since Michigan's, this says 37, but I think it's a 33-point victory over Virginia in 1989 when they won the national championship. So last team to dominate the Elite Eight that much was a Michigan team that won the national championship. Kind of fitting, right? Kind of romantic in that way.
Yeah, that seems right.
Another one, Michigan first team since 1992 to just win an Elite Eight game by 30 points. I think that one's pretty impressive. It does make me wonder if there should be a conversation about them potentially being a blue blood, but you don't seem to want to take that into consideration at all. Which is fine. We don't have to do that.
Yeah, I just think that it's like it's just way too early. Like there's just no way that anyone actually thinks that.
That's fine. How about this? Dusty May, 6th coach to take 2 programs to a Final Four in a span of 4 years. That is one of the more impressive stats.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean it's obviously the run that he had with FAU was pretty miraculous in such a wacky year of the NCAA tournament, and this year this was expected, right?
Mm-hmm. Anything short of this would have been a total disappointment.
Totally. I want to, but now this brings us to the next question: Is this enough? Because
obviously not.
We're crowning Michigan this blue blood. We're crowning them one of the best teams we've ever seen put together. Like, is it natty or bust as far as a disappointment standpoint?
Well, when you
like
have
if they lose, if they don't win at all, is it disappointing?
Obviously,
is it?
That goes without saying that it'll be disappointment if they don't win at all with this talent. But I think the roster that they have assembled and constructed is good enough to where 4 to 5 years from now, whether they win it or not, we're either going to be thinking, oh my God, how did they not win it? Or we're going to be thinking, well, yeah, no duh, they won it. Look at all these guys that are playing in the NBA, and not just in the NBA, but on legitimate rotations. All of that collection of talent, yeah, I think we're going to be thinking one of those two things of how did they not win a national championship, or yeah, of course they won a national championship. That's what it comes down to. There's so much talent on this team. We talked for a while about Yaxel earlier. I think he's the most well-rounded player that was in college basketball this season. I think he's having a better season, not statistically, but when you look at impact, team success, the fact that he is, in baseball terms, a 5-tool player. He does everything on the basketball court. I think he's having a better season than what Trey Burke had. I think he's just a better player than Trey Burke. This is also just a better team than that 2018 team or the 2013 team with Trey Burke on it. All those things I think are true. And then you look at, obviously all fueled by Yaxel Lendenberg. If he's not on the team, they're not in this position. Then you look at the impact that Dave Maris had. First player in program history to have 100 blocks in a season. That dude walks into the NBA tomorrow as one of the best shot blockers in the league. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The difference between a 7-foot guy and a 7'4" guy is enormous. It's 4 inches. And I don't think Ade Mara gets enough credit for being 7'4" because you just can't really score on him. It's pretty difficult, and he's got really nice touch around the rim. Good footwork as well. I think there's a role for him somewhere in the top 20, 25 picks of the NBA draft as well. And then you have Merez Johnson, who's just this defensive specialist, enforcer, enormous brick house body. That guy's going to be playing in the NBA too. Trey McKinney, A+ jump shot. There's a role for him in the NBA too. He doesn't miss the jump shots. It's kind of insane that he's a freshman. We're going to look back at those 4 guys and say one of 2 things. Either how did they not win a national championship, or yeah, of course they won a national championship. So to answer your question, yeah, of course it's going to be disappointing if they don't win it. But even if they don't, I think we're still going to look back at this team as like, oh, wow, I can't believe how much talent they had. Yeah. That's why it's going to be disappointing if they don't do it.
I agree with you. And I think, too, we give Dusty May a ton of credit for, building this roster. And he absolutely deserves all the credit in the world. It's also going to be interesting to see, and I don't want to take away, I don't want to move on from this season because this season is not completed yet. It's going to be difficult to, do this again. Like that's the difficult part about the current landscape of college basketball is like if you're taking the route of building a new team year in, year out. Yes, I know Trey McKinney said he's coming back next year. I don't know why that's being like celebrated, by the way. It's not like he signed a contract that he's coming back until the season is over, until he's in a Michigan uniform in the first game of the year next year. Nothing is set in stone. I still think he will be, though, obviously. But
has he played good enough, though, for an agent to be like, hey, we think you might be able to go in the draft? Like, it wouldn't shock me.
It would be a bad decision. I mean, he absolutely could build his stock for another season, 100%. But it's just like,
saying.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But, like, it's going to be really difficult for all the teams that take this route of building it year in, year out to repeatedly do this. For him to just, of course, nail the top guy in the transfer portal in Lendenberg, like, that speaks for itself. But to get the, not hidden gems of Mara and Johnson, but, like, these guys weren't top 10 guys in the portal. Like, to nail that, to nail 3 leaguers in the portal year in, year out.
In the recruiting class as well.
Yeah, like that
player in the state.
That's a difficult thing to do on a yearly basis. So like that's going to be a real test of like how sustainable is all of this.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. For them to have a historic team 2 years in a row completely rebuilt from scratch, it's not going to happen. We did say this last year though. I remember having the take of there's no way they do this again with Wolf and
but
Golden.
They didn't do. I mean, what did they do last year? Like, yeah, they built the team in the portal that lost in the Sweet 16. Like, that's what half the teams in college basketball do nowadays.
And the argument was, I don't think that they're going to be able to have this sort of success again the following season. And then look what they did. What they did this year is unprecedented.
Yes.
Like, they're not going to be able to do that again. But I as far as I'm concerned, right now, I don't think there should be a worry about, what's the roster going to look like next year? Dusty May is going to figure it out. It's kind of his thing. It's kind of what he does, is attack the portal and assemble a roster that just makes sense. Like he has a vision. He's a visionary. I think that's the best way to describe him as a coach. You know, you have all these different ways, whether it's Tom Izzo, who's I'd call him a developer. You've got Coach Calipari, who's like, hey, we're going to get you to the league. I think the best way to describe Dusty May right now is he's a visionary for what his roster can look like before the season starts in doing it overnight or over the course of an offseason, I guess.
And clearly he shares that vision with the guys he's bringing in because it has worked out. And, you know, those guys fully buy into it. The whole Yaxel Lendenberg, Kentucky, Michigan thing, like, that plays. Like, that it truly does. And so it just goes to show, like, it's just another kudos for Dusty May, who has brought his team to the Final Four for the first time here at Michigan.
I also think it's interesting, too, like, Ademara probably knew he could go elsewhere and be the center of attention, you know, and score a ton of points. Yaxel, like, I'm sure he wasn't promised, hey, you know what, you can come here and you're gonna run our offense. That's not what happened with them. They all clearly saw a bigger picture and said, I want to be a part of something special.
He could have went to the draft. Like, Lendenberg could have went to the draft.
Yeah, and they all came to Michigan knowing like we're gonna become the best basketball players we can. We don't really care what our stats say. That maybe to me is the part that you can really point to and be like, that's what I think Dusty deserves the most credit for this season, not just building the roster. But this is one of the more selfless basketball teams I think there is in the country. Of course, everyone brings, Yaks only averaged 14 points a game. Come on, man. If you're going to say that out loud, like, it's kind of exposing that you didn't really watch them this year. He could have scored a lot more than 14 points per game.
If you're going to say a fact out loud?
I guess, but, like, if you're going to use that as an argument as to why he shouldn't be first team all Big Ten or something, he only averaged 14. Man, were you watching him this year? He's so unselfish. He makes the right play every time, and that's kind of... It feels like this Michigan team in general, they move the ball around so well and are all on a string defensively and communicate well where they're all looking out for each other and no one's interested in their own draft stock or anything like that. And because of that, all of their draft stock rose this year throughout it. That's the most impressive part. So to answer my own question, I do think it'd be, or to answer your question, I guess I should say, I do think it would be a total disappointment if they didn't win a national championship. But regardless, I think we're going to look back at this team as pretty damn special. More so than we thought in 2013 and more so than we thought in 2018. You know, you look back at the 2018 team, and there was a lot of NBA guys on that team too.
Yeah, there was.
I mean, that weird amount.
A really loaded roster. For like, I mean, it wasn't, at the time, it definitely was not regarded as like this crazy team. You know, like they were a 3 seed. That were clearly outmanned by a team that had a ton of NBA players on it in Villanova, too, you know? There's going to be none of that outman stuff this time around. I mean, Michigan is the favorites for a reason.
I will say it'll be – I'm excited to see what it looks like because Arizona is obviously the best team that they've played so far. And I've already seen a lot of, well, they had the easiest path. No, they didn't have to play anybody, which...
They probably had the easiest path of all the 4 Final Four teams.
Look, man, what do you want them to do? They dominated every team that
yeah.
they played. Dominated them. So, that's an insane thing to say, I think.
But it's the truth.
I guess. Sure. But I don't know. Arizona's obviously going to be a tougher matchup than anybody they've played so far. I'm excited to see what Dusty May in a coaching battle looks like because he hasn't really had to be in one late into these games at all.
Loser of Michigan and UNC or in Arizona takes the UNC job between Dusty May and Tommy Lloyd.
Don't do
have
that.
you seen all this?
Don't do that.
But mainly on the Tommy Lloyd side of things. Have you seen all this? He went to his post-game presser afterwards and said, like, yeah, Arizona, my goal is for them to be in good hands after I'm gone. And it was just like
what?
When he's already been in talks about to be the UNC coach, and then he says that, and it's just like, why is he saying that? His team is still playing. Like, it was just a really odd thing to say.
Ward Manuel had some quotes this week that were like, we want to make Dusty May the head coach of Michigan.
May's
until the
not
day he
leaving.
dies.
That was clearly joking. He's obviously not.
John texting in saying, Kyle said it's hard to do this again. I agree. Dusty May has built 2 teams in a row from the portal. That's what makes him a great coach. In this era, you need to be more of a connector of people in order to build your roster as you do an X's and O's coach. Or developer. This is me adding it in. Or developer for that matter.
100%. Like, I totally think that because Dusty, like, I think that is a reason why he elevates above the rest of the crowd. Because you look at, like, what Mark Pope at Kentucky. They've completely shifted from, we're not recruiting freshmen anymore. Kentucky for the longest time was we get all the top guys in the freshman class. Nuh-uh.
Yeah, that was Calipari.
We're going to the portal now that Mark Pope's in charge. And they've been a round 2 exit. Like, it just, they haven't done anything.
Well, I think this connector of people thing is interesting, too. Did you catch on the broadcast yesterday that when Cadeau moved to Ann Arbor, Dusty May helped him move all his furniture in? And, you don't really think anything crazy of that, but the guys on the commentary team, like Grant Hill and Rafferty, were like, that's unheard of. Like, we didn't have any coaches that were helping us move in and all. They would never even think to do that. And
May's
Dusty's
a player
going out of
coach.
his way to do that.
He 100% is a player. I mean, you can just tell by the way he interacts with his guys. Like, he doesn't really get on them very much during the games.
Well, I mean, he has no reason to most of the time.
Sure, but like compared to like the other guys that are, like a Dan Hurley, he doesn't really get on him. Like he has a clear bond with them. You see him in the post-game presser. He's cracking jokes with them the whole time. And all of these coaches have a bond with their players. All the elite coaches do. But Mays seems a little bit more like he's one of the guys almost, rather than like I'm the guy that's above all of you.
Did you see the photo of him looking at all of his players cut down the net? He was on the complete opposite side of the court, just leaning up against the back, or like the, what do they call it? Like the
stanchion?
Is that what they call it? The thing that holds the backboard up?
Correct.
Yeah. He's just leaning against it, smiling, watching his team from 94 feet away. And it's just like, that's awesome because he doesn't need to go be there cutting the net down. He just wants his team to celebrate, and he'll reap the benefits of it with a crazy contract extension, I'm sure, and a pay raise.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he's a player's coach. He just wants the best for his guys. And he somehow convinces them that putting aside what's best for them and putting the team above everything else is actually what's best for all of us in general. And
it is what's best for them.
Everyone is on the same page about it. No, there's no bad eggs through 2 years of Dusty May at Michigan. And I don't think Tom Izzo can necessarily say the same thing, Like, as much as we talk about this development and everyone wants to play for Tom Izzo, and he's had some guys transfer out. He's had some guys not
guys
work
always
out that
There's
well.
going to be guys that transfer out this year, too. Like, if you're right.
And not to compare Dusty and Tom Izzo any more than we already have, but that hasn't been a problem for Michigan as of late. They've had guys go to the draft or graduate. No one's gotten to Michigan and be like, screw this, I want to go somewhere else. Roddy Gale is a guy who could have gone somewhere else and gotten more minutes. Will Cheddar, a guy who could have gone somewhere else and gotten more minutes. But they wanted to be a part of this for some reason.
Will Cheddar, your guy.
I wouldn't say that. 989-837-6125. 11 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. Quick shout out, 11 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Yater Insurance. Life happens fast, and at Yater Insurance, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned in Midland, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yater is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. That's Yater Insurance Group. We'll be there when you need us since 1940.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Breast. Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. 989-837-6125. That's the number to get a hold of us. Is it an overreaction or a proper reaction? I have a feeling I know your answer, Kyle, because it's only been 3 games. So I'll phrase it like this to make it a little bit more up in the air. Is it an overreaction to say by the end of the Tigers season, in which Justin Verlander's on the mound tonight, is it an overreaction to say by the end of the year, Dylan Dingler, Colt Keith, and Kevin McGonigal take over as the heart of the lineup? And I think if you want to take it a step further and be a little bit more detailed about it, it's Colt Keith and Dylan Dingler take Torkelson and Carpenter's spots as part of the heart of the lineup, and Kevin McGonigal takes Riley Green's spot as the superstar of this team.
Are we combining all of those into one, or?
You tell me, man. You tell me, wherever you want to take it.
Sorry, I'm a bit distracted back here. Yeah, I mean, I think if you just look at the first one from Kevin McGonigal, or the last thing that you said, I guess, Kevin McGonigal taking over as the best player on the team, I think that's been a thought we've had for a while, and it was probably an overreaction. At least just maybe not an overreaction, but too big of an expectation to put on Kevin McGonigal, because at the end of the day, Riley Green is a good player, like a pretty good player, well above average. Now, the start of the season might not tell you that, but of course, like, it's just, it really comes down to how you've always felt about Riley Green. I think you and I have always had different opinions on him. I think he's a pretty good player, and I don't think he's the superstar bat of a World Series team. That's just how I've always felt. I've never been like, man, Riley Green, that's a guy that can be the best bat on a team that wins the World Series.
And I've just always thought there was one more level he can get to, but obviously through 3 games, it doesn't feel like he's that much different.
It's not like you're wrong. You know, like he obviously that could end up happening. But I just do think that there does come a time where, man, it'd be so nice if he just wasn't the guy. If he was like the complimentary guy, then you feel so good about this lineup.
Yeah.
And there's a world where that could happen with McGonigal. So, like, is it an overreaction? Yes. Could it actually happen this year, though? I think it totally could. I think it's absolutely in play. I think it's in play.
So then it's not an overreaction.
I think it's in play that Colt Keith could be this number 2 guy. Like, it's in play. Anything's in play, because the way that Riley Green, ended the season last year, and the way that the first 3 games have gone.
Yeah.
What? No one's gonna be like, yeah, no way that happens. Riley Green is him. Like, no one's saying that.
No. I mean,
it could change. He could hit 2 home runs tonight, and all of a sudden we're like, there he is. There's Riley Green.
I mean, I'm a pro Riley Green guy, and my takeaway through the first 3 games of the season was, hey, can Kevin McGonigal actually replace him? And this is something we floated around in the offseason, but the fact that it popped back into my mind after 3 games, I mean, not a great sign for Riley Green. And then with Torque, I mean, Torque and Carpenter haven't been great to start the year too. The stat was they're 3 for 40, those 3 combined, and that's supposed to be the heart of the lineup. And it's supposed to be the heart of the lineup in the playoff game that went 15 innings. And guess what? It was not anything that you could count on down the stretch of the season. That was extremely frustrating. And we had real questions leaving that playoff game of, can these 3 guys ever be the 3 guys in the heart of the lineup that get the Tigers over the hump? Well, okay, maybe the answer was no, but allow me to introduce you to Colt Keith, Dylan Dingler, and Kevin McGonigal. And I'm not calling this the youth movement because Dylan Dingler's 27. What I will call it is an emerging new core that could take over as the heart of the lineup for the Detroit Tigers, with Riley Green still included in that because there's always going to be a role for him. Torque and Carey I'm a little bit more worried about because at the end of the day, Carey Carpenter's a platoon guy. Overreaction, but through 3 games, he's the worst guy on the offense. Like, that's not an overreaction. That's just factual. He's been terrible in the first 3 games in that leadoff spot. I have no idea why he's sitting there. And Torkelson has struggled too.
And I don't think it's something that we should be surprised about.
What, that Torkelson's struggling?
No, that this is like the guys that you're emerging as the new core, whatever you want to call it. It's what Scott Harris has told us all along. He paid Colt Keith. He's always brought up Kevin McGonigal. If anything, in their eyes, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, Carey Carpenter were never even the core. They were just the guys that were in place. They're the bridge core. And they're the supporting cast, and they're the good side characters in a fun TV show.
And Dingler was just like the guy that they kind of kept under the rug for a while of like, we're just going to let this guy develop as long as it takes in the minors, and there's no rush to bring him up.
Absolutely. You know, like when
is Dingler a Scott Harris draft guy?
No.
That's a... Okay.
Much earlier. Yeah, like he's been around for a while. So like, I just do think that
He's been so great to start the year.
He really has been. I love Dingler. I just think that there's a world where the core was never going to be Riley Green, Torkelson, and Kerry Carpenter. They were just the guys that were there. They're really good, like could be really good pieces to a team. Whereas the real core actually is Keith and McGonigal.
And not to say like, hey, Keith, McGonigal, these guys are going to make the Tigers World Series contenders. Like they're the next big thing in Major League Baseball. But if Carpenter and Green and Torkelson were able to get them as far as they did, and now they have better players that have better plate appearances and have better approaches, now they're coming in, and Carpenter and Torkelson and Riley Green are, again, Riley's a little different, but are more complementary pieces rather than guys that you have to rely on as middle of the lineup guys. Okay, now all of a sudden maybe we are talking about getting over the hump and getting back to the World Series.
Could be a top 10 offense, right? An offense that you feel comfortable is not going to score, and of course they scored 0 runs on Saturday. So like,
I mean, the guys are still
you
young.
don't feel good about it by any means, but yeah, exactly. Like all of this is overreaction, of course, and maybe we're downplaying Riley Green a little bit. The guy could go out and hit 40 home runs this season, and absolutely would be the best bat on the team. Like no doubt about it. But I think it's fun to hypothesize about what could be with some of the other guys on the team.
And this is not making fun of Green, but it really does crack me up watching him play left field. It really does. Because, 2 of the first 3 games, he's had a play out there where he's just, like, hit the ground for no reason. It's just like, man, you really didn't need to dive, but here we are. You're diving for it. It's so funny.
Someone on Twitter over the weekend called him the most uncoordinated athletic person ever. Because he still is athletic.
Of course he is. He's more athletic than any of us, obviously. He's a
but
pro
he's
athlete.
so uncoordinated.
I think watching him run to first base is harder. Like watching him try to beat out an infield single is like, oh my God.
I said it last week. It looks like he was grazed by a shotgun bullet in his thigh. That's how he moves.
Yeah, it's like there's like a hitch in his thigh, or he's wearing like ankle weights. That's what it looks like. He's wearing ankle weights all the time. He's just always on the ground out there, man. He always is.
Shout out Riley Green, man.
Shout out Riley
Please
Green.
get a hit today.
He's got 1 on the year, and it's that infield single, right? Through 3 games?
So, yeah.
He drew a walk.
Kerry Carpenter do something today, too, man. Jeez.
No, he like
give him the day
seriously
off.
needs to do something. I mean, again, like you could have 1 good series, and all of a sudden your numbers are insane because your first series was so bad. But I don't like him in that leadoff spot. I'll say that. It's a lot of swing and miss in that leadoff spot right now, way more than anybody else. He's been a zero contributor on the team thus far this season. Again, 3 games, but you got to talk about what has happened so far, and that's what's happened. That Kerry Carpenter's been a non-contributor for this offense. That for the most part has been a productive offense, with the exception of Saturday. That was tough. 989-837-6125. First time in over 3,000 days that Justin Verlander is going to be on the mound tonight for the Tigers. 10-10. You going to stay up for this whole thing? Yeah. I would like to say yes, but
there's no way.
No.
Like, there's not I mean, this game starts at 10:10. I like to be in my bed by that time.
Yeah.
I will stay up to watch, because I want to try to stay up at least for the Pistons game, unless it's a blowout.
I think that, 2 things are going to coincide. Justin Verlander may be checking out of the game at the same time the Pistons are ending the game. And then that's when you go to bed.
Could be it.
But then if it's like
under the 7th inning, am I awake in the 7th inning? There's no way.
Probably not. But if this is a close game, and all of a sudden, like you're going to be interested, because there's of those 3 players we just talked about. Again, Torkelson, Green, and Carpenter are not all of a sudden like that. Well, I got to see what they do. Now it's become, I need to see what Dingler and Keith and McGonigal are doing on a routine basis in this lineup. They've become the most fascinating part to me. Those 3 guys.
I'm at least not going to do a preparation of like late night caffeine to keep me up. This is just going to be a whatever happens kind of thing.
There was too much of that this weekend with March Madness.
Friday, terrible.
989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live here on the Mitt. Dow, proudly rooted in Midland and making an impact all around the world. Innovations that create cleaner solutions, cleaner water, safer homes, and a more sustainable future. Company built on science, driven by people, with thousands of employees who call this community home. Dow, solving with science, standing with community.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky. built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back into the show, everybody. Kyle Sandel, your time to shine. Take us away with the Mitt Morning Catch.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Okay, let's get back into the news, Ben. We had a lot earlier that we didn't get to, so let's do that now. Do we want to touch on the Tiger Woods stuff? Oh, who said that? Come on.
I mean, you may as well now that you brought it up.
I mean, what else is there to say? I feel like it's old news at this point. Got another DUI 2 weeks ahead of the Masters.
I thought he wasn't drunk, but he refused to take the pee test, the urine test.
Well, he got a DUI though.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know all the details on it or anything, but
I knew he flipped his car, and I knew there wasn't another car involved in the crash, which, yeah, that usually indicates not great things.
Tough, man.
So no Tigers at the Masters is what I'm hearing.
I don't know if that's confirmed. I would just probably assume.
Guess no.
I'd probably assume.
Or we're about to have the greatest golf story to ever happen.
He already did that in 2019 when he won the Masters, so it'd be doing it again. Yeah, it'd be pretty crazy.
No, I honestly, obviously 2019 Tiger, nothing will top that, except maybe the first year Tiger won the Masters, all the way back when. But Scheffler winning, was it the Open? Which one did he get arrested at?
Well, he didn't win that tournament.
Oh, he didn't win?
No,
for some reason I had it in my head that
he didn't win. It was the PGA Championship when he got arrested in Louisville. Did not win that one.
Weren't you there?
I was there, yeah. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Okay, anyways, let's move on to other sports stuff. Rick Pitino over the weekend lost to Duke, of course, but gets a huge extension from St. John's to be the second highest paid coach in the Big East, of course, behind Dan Hurley, who got that huge bag to stay instead of going to the Lakers a couple years ago. But this is good because Pitino, there was a little bit of rumor about him going back to Kentucky if they fire Mark Pope or taking the UNC job, but he will be sticking with the Johnnies.
Good for our guy, John Vicari.
Yes, hopefully he's excited about that.
He's a great coach.
Speaking of guys that might stay with their teams, Howie Roseman this morning says A.J. Brown is an Eagle.
Oh.
He is a member of the Eagles, so he's probably not getting traded.
Oh, come on, man. You're not actually buying that, are you? That's just, you know what that is? It's making someone be like, wait, calling him, does that mean the price is a little bit lower? Does that mean, so, hey, Howie, I heard he was keeping an Eagle. What do you say, a first and a second? Would that get it done? So, I still think he's getting traded by the time the draft rolls around. I really do.
Yeah. I think I would lean no. I bet he stays on the Eagles.
Okay.
I just don't know who wants to give up the price. You know, I really don't know. Because the price has gone up. You're right.
It's the Patriots. There's no way they're rolling into the season like, hey, guess what, fans? Romeo Dobbs, that's our guy.
It makes way too much sense, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Have you seen the lines for the Final Four yet?
I have not.
Predictions now.
Michigan by 1.5, UConn by 3.5.
Correct on Michigan, Arizona. Michigan by 1.5.
Oh.
Yeah, nailed it. Illinois favored over UConn by 2.5. Though.
Really?
Illinois the favorites, yes. Interesting.
Okay,
right?
so I have two thoughts on everything you just said. I think all season long, Michigan and Arizona have been the two best teams, with the exception of the week that
Duke, really? You're just counting out Duke just because they lost last night?
I guess those were the three best teams. You're right. Those were the three best teams all year. I think
doubt about it.
Throughout the tournament, Michigan and Arizona levitated above everybody else.
Agreed.
And now we're seeing those two, we're seeing an immovable object meets unstoppable force with Arizona and Michigan, because Purdue threw some nice haymakers over the weekend, but Arizona dominated in the second half and down the stretch of that game, and now you're seeing two just ridiculous teams go at it. And that makes sense. They're like, yeah, we think Michigan's slightly better, so here's 1.5, but we don't really know what to make of it. So now if I gave you, what would you set the odds for Big Ten winning it all? If I had to give you odds. So
it's minus.
If FanDuel gave you, or Generic Sportsbook gave you, all right, we've got a Big 12 champion, we've got a Big East champion, and we've got a Big 10 champion. Obviously, the Big Ten is favored because they have two teams, but what would be the odds?
It's at least minus 200. They have two teams that could play against each other. Like if it's just Michigan versus Illinois, boom, you've locked it up. And they're the favorites. If both teams are the favorites in their games, it's probably lower odds than that. It's probably minus 300.
I don't think it's quite that low, because if Arizona beats Michigan, then all of a sudden the Big 12 it would be massive favorites.
Sure.
I think it'd be they'd be the favorites, but it'd be plus 120.
That's a good point. The
How much did
favored
you say
the favored
Illinois was?
matchup is Michigan Illinois.
That's great.
Best odds. Well, they're both the favorites.
What? How many points did you say Illinois was favored by?
2.5.
Okay. All right.
I go on ESPN too, and the first thing I see is why Stephen A. is apologizing to Michigan. Boy,
Okay.
I can't wait to watch that.
I can't.
Okay.
I need a Bill Simmons apology too, because last week after the first round, he's just like, I don't really see it with Michigan. They seem gettable. I'm like, what? Did you watch? You've been watching?
He
dude?
doesn't watch college basketball. Come on, man.
I couldn't believe he said that.
He touched on UConn for like 2 minutes on the pod last night, and then just immediately, this NBA season's pretty weird.
I know.
Anyways,
That's kind of like you and I at the top of the show.
That's a good point. Okay, let's take a look at, of course, the Tigers started this weekend. What did everyone else in the AL Central do? Well, the Guardians played a 4-game series. They're 2-2. The
Some
Twins
battles with Seattle.
1-2. The Royals 1-2, and the White Sox 0-3. So
Some things never change.
the Tigers, the lone team above 500 in the first weekend. It's just classic AL Central. The teams stink. So at least the Tigers are off to a pretty good start compared to the rest of the division.
You know what I can't wait for? When the Tigers have a crazy record against the AL Central and they're just like above 500 versus everybody else, and people are going to be like, are they actually good? Because they just beat up on the
It's
AL
so
Central.
gonna happen. It's so gonna happen. It's pretty terrible. Pretty cool stuff in the AL Central, though. Both Munetaka Murakami of the Chicago White Sox, who was one of the big Japanese signings of the offseason, and Chase DeLauder of the Cleveland Guardians. If you remember, going back to last postseason, Chase DeLauder made his debut, his MLB debut, in the playoffs against the Tigers, which was a pretty crazy thing. Both of them hit 3 home runs in their first 3 games this weekend for each team. Murakami hit 3. DeLauder hit 4. He hit homered twice in one of the games. He's got 4 homers through 3 games. Pretty cool stuff. The only other rookies to do that in their first major league games were Trevor Story and Kyle Lewis in 2016 and 2019. Both these guys did it in the same year. So pretty cool stuff going on, at least from that perspective, in the AL Central.
Yeah, but McGonagall's now plus 300 to win AL Rookie of the Year. Odds just continue to drop. Continues to be a more heavy favorite.
McGonagall is?
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say it was?
Plus 300.
Oh, man. That's pretty good.
It's hilarious, isn't it?
A couple other things in the news baseball-wise. Of course, you said Tigers D-backs tonight at 10:10. The Blue Jays, they started off their 50th season in team history by striking out 50 total batters in their opening series against the Athletics. That is the major league record for strikeouts in the first 3 games of the season. So the homeless A's were swinging and missing a good amount this weekend.
And there was some real buzz. They were going to be a little bit of a frisky team this year.
They were they're
First
just not
weekend would
anymore
tell you-
after three games.
I mean, that's a lot of strikeouts.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be a frisky team this year too. I still believe that, but their offense is pretty good. But clearly, it wasn't very good this weekend.
Nick Kurtz, 5th in MVP odds
Really,
in the American League.
that's pretty crazy. I mean, based off the year he had last year, I guess I understand. And they play in that miniature ballpark.
The
so
hell's
that
Cal
helps.
Raleigh still doing, number 3? Oh my God.
Oh man,
He blows.
legacy pick. Last thing, actually 2 more things in the news. We got another update. Really needed this. Trinidad Chambliss. He is cleared to play in 2026. The NCAA tried filing a lawsuit against, I don't even know, the judge that said he was cleared to play. It didn't work. So I think this will be the last we hear about Trinidad Chambliss' eligibility for this season. He is eligible, though, as of right now. There's no way, actually, this is the last we hear of it. We will hear something else about this.
I mean, I'm just out of stuff to say about this, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it sucks. Okay, last thing for real in the news. North Carolina is putting a pause on their new arena talk. This has been in talks for quite a couple of years now. That is being put on pause because, of course, they need to hire a new coach. Yikes.
North Carolina basketball is supposed to get a new arena.
Yes.
Well, maybe if they weren't paying Bill Belichick so much money, they could afford to do it. 989-837.
Or Jordan Hudson.
Or Jordan. Is she on the staff?
I mean, like, she might not be on the staff, but she's on the staff.
989-837-6125. 3 traditions to close out every show when we come back here on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on one. Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome in. We have 3 traditions to close out every show. That's how we're going to end things over the last 6 minutes or so. The first tradition we have is our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the Day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
You know, I think I'm just going to take the blame for Kerry Carpenter sucking. It's because I've been taking him 2 total bases in our Lock of the Day. Yeah, my fault. And you know what? I'm not going to do it today, and he's for sure going to have 2 total bases today. So
Well, if
you're
it's
welcome in advance.
like for sure, as in like it's a lock.
Yeah, but if I do it, it won't be a lock. That's my point. It's somehow the baseball. It's just I gotta cut it with the player props unless it's Scooble strikeouts.
I think you just have to cut it with the 2 total bases. I think it's just a bad bet to do.
Okay, yeah. I need more guidance from you in baseball time when it comes to the Lock of the Day. I need some more insight from you.
Well, let's give the people an update because, it hasn't been great so far at the start of baseball season. Only 2 baseball bets so far. They were both Kerry Carpenter, 2 total bases. You went 1-4 last week, so you're 6-6 in the first 12 weeks of 2026 as far as being up or down. Right now, though, you are 3.19 units down in the month of March. You're also 2.13 units down in the Big 2-6. So it's been a little bit of a dip over the last 2 weeks. You've only got 2 right picks in the last 10 days. So a big week this week. You have 2 days to get back up in the month of March. So today is obviously pretty crucially important.
Okay, so I'm going to go for like an even odds bet today, and then tomorrow I'm going – I have to take a big –
Like a plus 220 tomorrow I would get it if you hit today.
Yeah, so I'm going to set myself up to not have to go crazy tomorrow. I'm just going to take the Tigers' money line today. They bounce back after Saturday where they don't score any runs. I know they ended with 5 runs on Saturday or on Friday night as well, but they didn't look great for the majority of that game until McGonigal came through in that 8th inning. Leave it to the 21-year-old kid to make the team not look like it was a total disaster of a day. I think they bounce back today against another right-handed pitcher. You've got Soroka.
Soroka.
Mike
Soroka.
For some reason, I thought there was a V in there. Soroka's on the mound today for Arizona, another righty, so that typically benefits the Tigers with the amount of lefties that they have in the lineup. In theory, Kerry Carpenter, big game. In theory, Colt Keith, big game, should be in the starting lineup. I'm just going to take their money line, not mess around with the player props tonight. Verlander, he can't lose his first game back, right?
Ooh, I hope not.
That's really the only way that they lose is if he just kind of doesn't have it tonight.
You know, one thing I haven't really put into any thought of consideration, and I hate even putting this out into the world.
Don't even say. I know what you're going to say. I don't
even
want
you
to say it.
Then I won't. What if Verlander's just bad this year?
Well, I thought you just agreed to not say it. What was that? Why would you do that?
Well, I can't blue balls the audience like that. Come on, man. No, it's not going to happen.
I think the worst case scenario is he has some bad stretches, but there's no way he doesn't tap into vintage Verlander at some point. We saw it last year. He sucked for the first half of the year, and he ended up turning things around and was one of the better pitchers in the National League for the last chunk of the season.
Yeah, for the last 2 months, definitely.
And I think with Chris Fetter here too, they've got the resources to. It's not like he's a project piece by any means, but it's someone that you can lean on as a good pitching coach, nonetheless. I think he'll be fine. Is he going to be a stud? Maybe not, but I think he's going to be totally fine. Okay, that's going to be our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the Day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Something that we didn't talk about at all today, and not to say I regret it because we had a lot to talk about, but got another battle of the 1 seeds today. OKC versus the Detroit Pistons. This time around, it's in Oklahoma City. Thunder versus Pistons. That's got to be the game of the day on NBC. Is it Peacock or 9:30? Peacock or NBC?
Peacock.
Peacock only.
Peacock Mondays.
Yeah, go ahead. Play the sounder.
Game of the day.
It's got to be the battle of the 1 seeds. The Pistons take on the Thunder tonight. Pistons have a 99.9% chance of grabbing that 1 seed, according to Pro Reference. So it would really take a, we're not going to win another game type of collapse the last 2 weeks of the season. 13 days left in the regular season for the NBA. So I think
crazy.
Really, they just have to win 1 or 2 more of these games, and they should be fine in terms of locking up that 1 seed. I'm honestly shocked as to how well they've played without Cade. Now, I think I'll stand on what I said when Cade initially had the collapsed lung. I don't think they can beat anybody in a playoff series without Cade. Maybe Orlando is the exception with how bad they've been in the last couple of weeks and some really weird quotes coming out from their star player and their coach. I don't think they can really amount to anything in the playoffs without Cade, and it's still kind of up in the air whether or not he's coming back before or after the playoffs start. So,
right.
But I am surprised as to how well they've played without Cade so far. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean,
they deserve a ton of credit. Danis Jenkins deserves a ton of credit, and Jalen Duren deserves a ton of credit, and everybody. But those two guys specifically,
Totally.
I've been amazed with.
Yeah, I mean, even the game against Minnesota over the weekend, like, they were talking about on the broadcast. Legler was talking about, like, the Cade games played thing. Like, this has become a pretty national story about, like,
That they keep winning.
they want this change. No, but they want this rule change so that Cade can still be a first-team All-NBA guy. So it'll be interesting to see if that stuff goes down this year. I mean, they're just going to lose tonight, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
OKC has been playing unreal lately. They have been on another level.
I think it's also funny that that Dave. I think it's funny that the Pistons, they hyped up Danis Jenkins going into that Saturday game where it was back-to-back Pistons wings on ABC. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
And just for the wings to poop all down their leg. I think it was funny though that they hyped up Danis and he just had a bad game. He did.
They had to hype him up though, right? It's like, what else are we gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just tough that both of the games against the Thunder this year were at the same. Like, they were both the battle of the 1 seeds each time, and the first time around the Thunder didn't have their guys. Second time around, Pistons aren't gonna have Cade. Pretty unfortunate.
That's today's NBA. All right, that is our game of the day.
Game of the day.
Some would say that it's 2 words.
I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
I almost forgot about it. I'm happy you did that because I almost forgot about it.
You're welcome. Last tradition we have, what's Colin Cowherd going to open up his show with? Fox Sports Radio takes over our airwaves at noon. What do you got, man? Big weekend. Whose turn is it to go first?
Man,
What's
this
the
is
score?
tough.
I think I know my pick if I am going first.
48-46 is the score. I added a point from what I said on Thursday. I didn't get it right, but no one got it right on Friday. It is my turn to go first. Episode 206 today. See, but I don't think I'm going to steal your thing because I don't really know. There's a lot of different angles you could take here. Of course,
I think you're crazy if you don't pick what I'm thinking of.
it just has to be the demise of Duke, right?
Yes.
That has to be the pick. But I think it's going to be about Duke rather than, like, I don't know. I guess you could take the angle of UConn, like being like a insanely, like, what an impressive run it's been from UConn, because that easily could be the lead. I think it's going to be the opposite, though. Duke, because he loves talking about Duke, but he likes Duke, though, so I don't know if he's going to trash on him necessarily. Yeah, it's going to be a negative Duke lead.
So if you take this, am I allowed to take
The UConn
side of things or no?
I think I'll allow it, but we have to be pretty clear about it. I'll allow it, though, because like he could just do a full-on, like, Dan Hurley, UConn, like, look, they're back in the Final Four, 3 in 4 years. They could win 3 titles in 4 years. Like, that could be a lead.
Little do we know he's just talking about the Lakers. Yeah, that's what I'll take, though. I think that's what he ends up opening the show.
No, little do we know he's going to say, like, A.J. Brown. He's not getting traded.
That would be incredible. Hey, by the way, we got an Albert Breer piece here in the last 30 seconds of the show. We got a little update from him that the Lions and Dan Campbell are very open to moving Penei Sewell to left tackle. The quote is, he's ready to do that. Dan Campbell talking about Penei Sewell.
Okay.
You and I are anti that.
Not that I'm anti it. I just don't get why everyone's so pressed about it.
I am anti that.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Late night hoops, late night Tigers tonight. We'll have it all ready for you. You don't have to watch it. We'll watch and recap for you. See ya.
The Ben Bosscher